wide this lap.
3 wide and deep.
This is like a damn plate race. Yeehaw, baby. 3 with no help. Push him up. Race all the way back, baby.
Real man.
Awesome job, dude. Awesome job. Let's go, Moose. Let's go.
Oh my God.
We are the champions. Yes. We're good sorry, boys. Yes.
Hey everybody, welcome to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Not only we're back on my channel, but sadly, we're on my channel for the last time this year. The last time the NASCAR Weekly Podcast will be on DannyBTalks for 2021. But we've got a lot of things to talk about. First of all, I guess everyone could have said late in the chat. We're late by a whole day, guys. What happened?
We're late by like almost a minute.
So, no, in all seriousness, last night was a great event, the Groovy Hollow 200 from the Groovy Hollow Hickory Speedway, whatever you want to refer to it as. Eric, you raised a lot of money for charity. You guys raised over $5,000 for charity last night.
We did. Actually, I looked at it this morning. We got a couple last minute big drops as well. So I think we actually hit $6,000 donated to the Children's Miracle Network by the end of the night. So no, it was a great event. It was definitely a lot of work, several months in the making. Podium guys came in clutch with some of the tricks of the broadcast. AE Engine, of course, handling pretty much everything behind the scenes. It was one of the more like stressful broadcasts I've been a part of because I'm not used to that many bells and whistles happening. I had so many screens open, so many things to keep track of. But the chat was live. The racing was action-packed. Josh Berry, the mysterious Halloween machine, got the win. And Darian, dude, you ran the top 10 all night long on a controller. I was very impressed.
On a controller. I can't.
Dude, my hands were hurting so much. But my most favorite part of the race was when Josh Berry sent it 3 wide on me in the 66 car. I was like, oh God, like it just came out of nowhere, man. So P12 in the race, but we ran inside the top 10 for most of it. So I'm proud of myself.
And you will not be a crew chief with your fuel mileage.
No, dude, it just ran out of gas all of a sudden with like 20 to go while I was inside the top 10 and my heart just sank. But at least I came back to finish 12, so it's all good.
And in case you missed the broadcast last night, Darian was actually in the NASCAR Weekly Podcast number 1 car. That was pretty good. Cool. We were all on every single one of the cars. I had to get added on last second. There was something kind of funny there, but we don't need to bring that up.
But guess what? No damage. I didn't get involved in any wrecks there. It was smooth sailing. It was cool.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed getting to be a part of it. And hey, the Groovy Hollow Ghost car will actually hit the track in real life this weekend at Martinsville.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, so from the virtual world into the real world, it'd be fun.
But from virtual racing, let's talk about the real racing that happened this weekend. Kyle Larson, number 9 for this season. Can we stop him at all, guys?
Doesn't look like
I can't.
Not when nothing goes wrong. Basically,
he's reached Harvick wins from last year, but he won them when they cut it because he's in the championship already.
Man,
yeah, I'll be real. Like looking like at the track when he did not have a good short run car. He didn't have a good short run car at all. It seemed like compared to the ones up front, it seemed like Chase Elliott could get the jump on him. It seemed like that the Penske guys could get the jump on him when they were up there. William Byron was surprisingly fast the whole race. Like, I think he was the only one who could have went toe-to-toe with Larson the whole time. Just stuff didn't work out that way. But no, when it went to the long run, and part of it, of course, is the aero package, but Larson flat out ran away from him. Like, you can't, it's not a package deal. It's not, a teammate deal. No, it's like just Larson was head and shoulders better than everybody out there past like the 10-lap mark of a run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then also, too, also for Kyle Larson to win on the 17-year anniversary of the tragic Hendrick plane crash in the Ricky Hendrick scheme at Kansas, where Ricky Hendrick scored his only NASCAR Truck Series win in July of 2001. That was also very special. So, props to him for that.
And it was really cool seeing everyone on Hendrick Motorsports, all the team members, everyone turned their hat backwards there. And it was lap 5, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
they all did.
And again, it is nice to see basically that Ricky Hendrick paint scheme come back last year with Byron, I think, but now it's been actually on the proper number 5 car, and to see it having so much success this year, and especially the win on that day of all days, just was probably really special for people at Hendrick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to say something about go ahead.
No, you go first. Go first.
Well, I'm going to change subject. So if you're on this subject, go for it, man.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I will say though, like anyone who was at that race got the full Midwest experience. And I think this is what makes, I will circle it back to Larson here. It makes this win more impressive is the fact that like when the race started, it was like 78 degrees out and warm. Like we were, if it was that way the whole time, I'd have a sunburn right now. Then there were huge ass raindrops. Literally they said on the radio it was the biggest raindrops they've ever seen. And they weren't exaggerating for once. And then it cools off by like 20 degrees and gets super, super windy the whole time. Like the crew chiefs had to continuously adjust the cars the entire race. And again, it just shows like right now, this 5 team is just clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah. And also to clarify that stat we were talking about last week. So Larson has the most laps on intermediate tracks this season in all of Cup Series history. I guess that was the stat we were talking about.
That in 36 races.
Yeah. But also, 9 wins already with 2 races left, and he's already locked into the championship 4. So clearly the possibility to get in, double digit wins is there. I mean, the last time we've seen that was, Jimmy Johnson in 2007 and then Jeff Gordon back in the late 1990s. I mean, it's that type of dominance, man. It's pretty cool to see. Now, I guess the real question is can he sustain that level of dominance for, the next 3 to 5 years? I mean, I don't know. That's going to be kind of hard because you got William Byron coming up. Chase Elliott's always going to be a bona fide contender. And then you got Alex Bowman, who I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. So I think he'll improve as the years go on. So we'll see.
Yeah, for me, it's not even looking that far ahead. It's can they sustain it these next 2 weeks at the 750 tracks, especially at Phoenix? Obviously, that's where his focus is going to the championship. But like Hendrick Motorsports, namely Kyle Larson, has been dominant since the get-go at the 550 horsepower tracks. Really, Chevrolet, since the end of last season or right before the playoffs last season, they combined the ECR and Hendrick engines departments, all combined notes to develop one universal Chevy engine. It propelled Chase Elliott to the championship in those last 10 races last year, and it's propelled Kyle Larson and most of Hendrick Motorsports all season this year. So, but that's helped most at the 550 tracks, the big tracks where you're wide open 90% of the time. At the smaller, the shorter, more technical tracks, the outside of the road courses where Larson and Elliott have also dominated. But at the shorter tracks, that's been where Joe Gibbs Racing, namely Martin Truex Jr., with 4 wins this year at those types of tracks, has really reigned supreme. So, I look into Martinsville, and obviously Larson doesn't have to worry there. But when we go to Phoenix, I know it's a 1-race championship. There's a lot of questions about that. Getting to the championship 4 is obviously a huge success. That kind of tells the story of your season by itself. But he wants to win that championship. And Phoenix, I'm sure he wishes it was Homestead. But I'm sure he wishes we were still going back to Miami this fall.
Well, thank God it's not Talladega.
It's kind of funny Eric mentions that. I've actually finally finished recording. The Rise and Fall of Chip Ganassi Racing will be coming out the day of the championship race. But I realized something while I was getting towards the end of it. Larson was so good at at Homestead. Like I remember in 2017, he was just practically on the bumper of Busch and Truex, just watching them go at it. And I just kept thinking he's just laying back out of respect for the contenders, basically. And I just realized if Chip Ganassi could have done better to get him past that round of 8 and into the championship 4, he would have been a serious contender years ago, but now he's with a team that can get him there.
The storyline for years with Kyle Larson was, man, if he can just get to the Final 4, he'll dominate Homestead and he'll be a lock for the championship. The year he finally makes it, and Homestead is not even on this side of the schedule.
Yeah, not even in the playoffs, man. Yeah,
but you do be like that.
Man, he has to be there like, damn it, like what the hell do I got to do?
Too late. I was too late.
But let's start thinking, since we're on the subject of Larson and championship, how is he at Phoenix overall? How do we think he's going to be when we get there?
I mean, like, we've seen it every year where, like, the championship 4, like, they always step it up a notch. Like, even if it's at a track where, like, they usually perform mediocre, like the team will step it up and bring their best stuff with them there. So, I mean, Larson, he's a generational talent, so I'm sure he'll fare well there.
But in this case, though, we might be in a situation where we see 2 Gibbs cars, two Penske cars, maybe 2 Hendrick cars. There's a good chance we'll see 2 teams basically competing for the championship. So then, where do you prioritize? Who's going to bring the best stuff then?
Well, I would just say, talking about like how we do still, I mean, I don't think, I think more than likely a JGR car is going to make it. I think it would be very odd set of occurrences this week if a JGR car didn't make it. And I think they're the favorites with these 750 tracks. So unless one of those teams, if Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, if they don't make it, if Martin Truex Jr. doesn't make it, then maybe he's the favorite. But right now, if one of them makes it, I don't see Larson as the favorite for the championship. Take that as what you will, but it's just the way that he's been at these tracks compared to the way the Gibbs guys have been is like night and day difference. It's
just interesting. You saw last year Penske made it a priority to focus on the 750 tracks. Like Keselowski was really good at New Hampshire, Richmond earlier in the year, and they ended up getting. Yeah, they got Logano and Keselowski in the championship race. Like, it worked out. They got to Phoenix, and then they still ended up losing to Chase ultimately. So they almost got to that ultimate goal. But now I think Joe Gibbs Racing is kind of following that same strategy. Like I said, I think Hendrick clearly been the best at the intermediates all year long, and they've been good at the other tracks. Like Larson dominated at Nashville. They've been good at the other tracks too, don't get me wrong, but they clearly are above the competition at the 550s. Meanwhile, JGR especially is closer everywhere else. So I think JGR, we'll see it. Hopefully, I think they're hoping they get 2 guys in the championship, or you get Hamlin and Busch, maybe Hamlin and Truex alongside Elliott and Larson, and I think you're going to have an extremely competitive race at Phoenix because all year long, Larson's been the best. But at Phoenix especially, I would still probably go with my pre-playoffs prediction that Truex might get the championship at that rate. But really, we're getting way ahead of ourselves because Martinsville this weekend is going to start to tell that story. Like a couple weeks ago at Vegas, the Hendrick cars were a little off. I mean, they were still really fast. Fuel strategies would really put them behind the 8 ball there. But, Joe Gibbs Racing looked really good at Las Vegas. So we're going to Martinsville this weekend. Maybe the Hendrick cars surprise us and they dominate still. If that happens, then it's over. I don't think Joe Gibbs has a chance at Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, when was the last 750 race? Was it Bristol or was there another one? Because if it was Bristol, then Hendrick's looking golden.
It was Bristol. Other than the Roval, which is a road course. But
yeah. I mean, based on that too. Larson, who was up front, won the race.
You had Larson win it. Chase was looking to win it. So
Joe Gibbs Racing was really. I mean, they weren't in the top 3. I don't know where they were.
They were pretty mediocre. They were pretty mediocre for their usual winning standards. Yeah.
Well, I mean, right now though, we'll look at the playoff standings in a bit, but they got a little shuffled up because just for some reason, all hell decided to break loose at Kansas this past Sunday.
It was crazy to watch. It was crazy to watch, man. Hey, if that's one thing this playoffs gives us, it's those entertaining moments like these where, one guy, one moment you could be plus 29 to the good, and then all of a sudden you're just +1, like Blaney is.
I see there's a chat about it in the chat, but like, can someone tell me what exactly did Kyle Busch say on the radio? Because again, I was there, I didn't hear it, but I heard that he was like screaming.
He was pretty pissed at Bubba for racing him really hard.
Yeah.
They didn't show anything on TV that seemed over the top, but yeah, he sounded angry. I don't know what about.
He said
if you see it in the radioactive, he's really mad at Bubba.
He said, what did he say exactly? Was he like, ah?
He just screamed. That's basically all he did.
This was after early in the race he said his car was killed, and then he drove back into the top 10 with it, of course, as he's known to do, and then he was pissed at Bubba. So he had a typical Kyle Busch kind of day as far as his emotions.
It's just funny too because I know he's angry and stuff. It's just funny to see like a grown man just scream like that. It's like, I don't know, man. I find it funny.
And then
Jared, how windy was it there? Because that's what caused a lot of trouble.
There was a tornado warning not far from the speedway, correct?
Yes, nice. There's actually a tornado warning a county over. What was fun?
Oh, gosh.
So it's funny when there was supposed to be a lightning delay that only went for like 15 minutes, which is really odd. But they were like, there is lightning in the area. Everyone, please go under the grandstands. And I look around and
immediately the sun pops up.
No. Maybe 10% did. It was still kind of raining. I'm like, you're telling a bunch of Midwesterners that there's a possibility of a storm go inside. Like, yeah, right.
They don't care.
But no, they had this giant American flag in 1 and 2, and that thing was flat the entire race, just completely spread out. I mean, the wind was absolutely nuts through there. It was like at one point I believe it was like 65 degrees, and I felt like it was 40 degrees just because the wind was so freaking like just hard. Like basically, it felt like you were getting hit in the face.
So you're
like,
saying
by something.
if someone had spun someone out, they probably could have flipped. It was that much wind, probably.
Depending on the way that they spun them, yeah. I mean, it was like that was the windiest I have ever been at a NASCAR race. I think MRN at one point said there were 55-mile-an-hour gusts.
Oh my
goodness! And that caused a lot of problems.
So it was worse than Kansas 2019, Jared? Like way worse?
Kansas 2019 was nothing.
Oh,
goodness. That was nothing.
Well, I know it affected turn 2 was the trouble spot because early on it was Keselowski got into the wall. That forced Truex to get into the wall. That put them in a bad spot. Kyle Busch scraped the wall. Blaney, I didn't even see where or how he got the contact, but he had a flat tire. But what's shocking to me is that it was only the playoff drivers that were getting hit by the wind. Did you seem that way? I don't think anybody else had a major or notable issue other than Newman spun out that one time. Like there was no
Reddick might have.
Reddick. Yeah, he had an incident. Yeah,
but I just think it's the pressure. You talk about the entertainment of the playoff format. One of the things I like about the playoff format is it does force these drivers to perform late in the season, and I think you can see that the pressure is getting to him. Kyle Busch mad at Bubba Wallace for being in the
racing. I guess
they didn't show anything on TV that seemed particularly egregious. So I just think the pressure when every point matters that much more late in these races, late in the season. You see these guys make mistakes. It feels like this whole playoffs we've seen more and more drivers make mistakes than I'm used to seeing. Like it feels like every year in the playoffs, that first race is kind of a crapshoot. A lot of guys have issues for whether it was Las Vegas back in the day, this year at Darlington was kind of messy at times, playoff drivers making mistakes. But as we get into the round of 8, especially, these are supposed to be the 8 best. Like all 8 of these drivers, I'd say have at least somewhat realistic shot at winning the title. Why are we seeing so many mistakes? Like, I think it's the pressure of the format. It's late season. You got to perform and they know it, and, leads to mistakes.
I had posted on Twitter, and I felt so bad for this guy. That's why I only made sure that like none of his face got in it. But this poor Truex fan in front of me, I just see him like look down at his phone for like maybe 10 seconds. And then we all look up and here's Truex puttering around on the apron going down on pit road. And I just see him just go,
nah.
Like it was just one of those like he knew it would happen kind of things. But there was a lot of that. I mean, I would say maybe 6 of the 8 guys probably had some sort of problem, whether it was.
I think Elliott and Larson might have been the only ones that didn't. Hamlin's was pretty smooth during the day.
Well, Elliott had a problem right at the end.
Yeah.
He hit the wall at the very end.
It didn't affect his finish, but he had a problem.
He still finished second. Yeah, he hit the wall at the very end, but yeah.
I thought he had some pit issues at one point too. But I might be wrong.
He might have.
He might have. Yeah.
He was near the front all day. That's all.
But basically, most of the playoff field, it was chaos pretty much on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was like Eric said. It was pretty much only them that it seemed like anyone had problems. There was a few here or there, but it was like, I think at one point I put, I'm like, what the hell is happening? Just because it seemed like every time I'd look up or I'd look towards 3 and 4, there's another one on the apron or another one had a problem. So I'd say that Kansas really can become the wild card of this last round more than Martinsville even can. Because you've seen it in the past. You've seen where it's like just whether it's people have tons of problems and make mistakes or giant ass wrecks, like one way or another, Kansas seems to like end at least one person's playoff chances or hamper them at least.
And also we're coming off of the previous race before Kansas. Texas we thought was, the wild card race and stuff there were so many playoff implications there and stuff. And then to have that 2 weeks in a row and then to finish off the round of 8 with Martinsville, that's pretty chaotic. It's going to be fun on Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I do want to give a shout out to some people who had some pretty good finishes. First one, he's not in the playoffs anymore, but Kurt Busch, the team's just about done, so they're still trying to get as many good finishes as possible. He gets 4th place. Good job to Kurt Busch. Chris Buescher, things are about to change big time with Brad Keselowski coming in. The whole organization might change up a little bit. He comes in 12th. And now Gaunt Brothers Racing has barely raced at all this season, mainly just because I think it's more lack of funding, also not having a chance to practice and qualify, not really trying to go that direction with him not having any kind of guaranteed spots into the field. But Parker Kligerman made his Cup Series return in a 96 car with, what was that company? Fast,
yeah. Fast.co.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
And you had something you could like get a $1 hoodie or something like that. That was a promotion on it. But he comes in 20th in Gaunt Brothers Racing number 96, which admittedly is not really a 20th place car this year. So good job on there.
Yeah, that's impressive.
He was legitimately racing on the lead lap in the top 15 after the first stage. Like he was one of the I think, and after even the second stage, he was pretty high up there. Like a lot of people were looking at the scoring pylon, and like I saw some people be like, "Who the F is in the 96?"
Who was that 96? That's Parker Kligerman.
When was the 96 last there? You know, like it. So it was pretty surprising to see. Like he was straight up passing relatively good cars that should be ahead of him. So that was impressive.
That's great.
Yeah, good to see. He was in the top 15 for a while there. I thought NBC definitely gave him, additional screen time. Of course, for them.
Of course.
But hey, good value for that sponsor, I suppose. Hey, if you got that, use it.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about going into Martinsville this weekend. It is going to be the last chance. Now, here is how the standings look as we go into Martinsville following Kansas. Obviously, Kyle Larson, good, two race wins, so secured there. So really, this means only one person has a chance to kind of win their way in, and two people are going to be, at least two people are going to be secured on points. It has a good chance of being Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin if they just keep their nose clean, running the top 5. They don't even have to win. They come in Chase Elliott plus 34, Denny Hamlin plus 32. Essentially, don't do what Harvick did last year and you'll be fine.
Yeah, just don't suck. Don't run 20th.
But again, it's Martinsville though, so chaos can happen there.
Don't go full Harvick.
Poor Harvick's become a meme this year.
Yeah, it's self-inflicted.
But
pretty much.
But also on that note, Chase Elliott, watch out for Harvick.
Yeah. Oh, watch out. Hey, what if Harvick actually dumps? Like, that would be, and
did you see,
we're going to be there. That would be a crazy reaction.
Did you see Harvick react? Harvick was on I think Race Hub or something either yesterday or today. And he was like saying, oh yeah, like it was kind of weird. It was like he brought up the wreck at the Roval and said that was clip was going to be like the Chase Elliott fan club's like theme song for the next 30 years or something like that. But it was kind of an awkward bit, but he
let it go.
But no, he laughed. My point is, he was kind of laughing about it.
Okay.
Like I think he's obviously a little embarrassed. Like it was embarrassing, but I think it made me think he's perhaps moved past it a little. He's still not done like Chase Elliott for sure, but I don't think he's going to do anything.
Okay, the fact that they keep bringing it up, and also it's just too funny. I seen what you were doing on Twitter today, Eric, talking about the whole Kansas stuff, how they were still promoting that, and. What if this becomes a Kenseth Logano situation where Harvick just takes out Elliott?
They better suspend him for 2 races minimum.
Please, bro.
If he doesn't, and they don't suspend him, I will be pissed.
I want to see that just for Eric's reaction now. Honestly,
I want to see the Chase Elliott fans' reaction too on Twitter after that.
See,
That'll be fun.
I'll tell you what, man. Like being at the track, I did not realize just how much Chase Elliott fans hate Kyle Larson, and I heard so much.
Wow.
From these Elliott fans in the stands being like, Hendrick just gives him the good stuff. And I'm like,
oh, here we go again. He
literally got the good stuff last year.
It's like the junior days all over again. They just give the good stuff to Gordon and Herm Johnson and stuff. It's the same argument.
Yeah, it was just, I did not realize like how many middle fingers went up when Kyle Larson took the lead. And he took the lead from I think Byron. He didn't even take the lead from Elliott. He took the lead from Byron, and they're
it's
just
your fault. Ooh, it's your fault.
It's like, sorry that he's better than your driver right now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And forever.
Meanwhile, us Bowman fans are like, yes, good job, Mr. Larson.
Yeah, at one point,
where is Alex Bowman?
Where's he at, bro? Where's he at?
Get him on the phone. What is happening?
He is chilling, playing with dogs, eating Uncrustables.
I saw he was in a commercial. He was in a commercial during the World Series.
Yeah.
So that's some good exposure.
But he's suffering from crippling mediocrity.
Bro, at this point in the season, he's like the forgotten stepchild of Hendrick. He's still good, though.
Watch him be the one that blossoms with the next-gen car.
He's going to win Phoenix. He's going to go win Phoenix and just, everyone's going to be like, well, where did he come from?
Well,
Wait, didn't Hendrick get a penalty earlier this year for putting the wrong engine in the wrong car? They're accidentally going to put Larson's engine in Bowman's car, and he's going to go win Phoenix.
We'll be like, oh crap!
Bowman's going to be like, I win the championship, right?
Right? Don't we get it? Oh man.
Well, Dan, you were talking about those first two up there. We got sidetracked.
We got sidetracked.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, Kyle Busch is fourth, +1. Blaney is going full Blaney because he had a good lead and now it's gone. -1 in fifth. Martin Truex Jr. has recovered to -3 and he's going into a really good track for him. Brad Keselowski is -6, hit or miss. And well, Joey Logano, he's proved that he can do what it takes to win the war, so he could do it again.
And man, but dude, when that Blaney thing happened, like, look, I get it. You know, this has happened in other formats before where, you know, non-contenders affect, you know, the outcome of contenders. You know, you go back to Dale Sr. and Ricky Rudd back in 1989, you know, at North Wilkesboro, that definitely affected the championship and so on and so on. There's multiple cases, but man, whenever it happens in this playoff format, it just really grinds my gears and stuff, just because, you know, the drivers, they spend all season trying to build these gaps and throughout the playoffs trying to build these points gaps and stuff. And to see them reset every 3 races basically and stuff, and then to lose it all within, you know, because Austin Dillon was racing hard and looked like he ended up just getting loose or some type of aero loose or something like that. It's really tough, but I mean, at least it's entertaining though. It's entertaining. So, I mean, -1, so he has to show up on Sunday.
At least in this format, you know, Blaney, if he'd be out of it at this point. As it is, he's -1 going into a really good track for him, you know, but I'm with you there. He'd run really well at Texas. He'd done his job there. Obviously 3 wins in the regular season. He built up a decent amount of playoff points. So that was extremely unfortunate. Like I talked earlier about how so many playoff drivers seem to be, had self-inflicted wounds, hitting the wall themselves and stuff. Blaney was the lone exception. He literally just got bad luck. Like I think bad luck is an overused phrase in racing sometimes, but if there was ever an example of bad luck, it was Blaney getting dumped by Austin Dillon. You could argue that, you know, they shouldn't have been in like 12th place. You know, they shouldn't have been in the danger zone, but still, that was just unlucky for Blaney. Luckily, he's good at Martinsville at least. But no, you mentioned Martin Truex Jr. -3. That's huge. He was like -20 or something before the race at Kansas this weekend. What really they were bailed out by was Keselowski having issues late as well. Kyle Busch also having a 27th, 28th place finish. So yeah, that cut line, I think Elliott and Hamlin both make it. I don't know, not to change the subject, but I think Elliott and Hamlin will both make it. I don't think either of them wins this weekend, but I think they make it on points. They're +32 and 34. It's all going to be about that 4th spot. And you've got Kyle Busch +1, but I think statistically speaking, he might be the worst of all the other playoff drivers remaining at Martinsville.
And meanwhile, Truex, though, he's the best. He is one of the best at Martinsville, man. So look out for him.
I'm not going to say Kyle Busch is necessarily that bad. I mean, only race I went to at Martinsville, Kyle Busch won. So in 2017.
Well, he hasn't. I was doing some research. He hasn't led a lap at Martinsville since 2018. Oh. Meanwhile, Keselowski has like a career average finish of like 11th. Truex obviously has dominated the last few years. Yeah, he may not be the worst. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but he's certainly not the best. But he's the 1+1 right now, so it's going to be interesting.
To Keselowski's advantage, he did win here in 2020. So.
Yeah, that is true.
If it's me, I think I do have Elliott and Hamlin up there. I don't think either of them Harvick it. But if I'm having to choose, because listen, unless Logano wins, I'm not picking him to make up all that ground, especially with that many people that close. Like one of them would do better, hypothetically at least. I said the word. I'm not going to give up my race pick or anything with any of this, but I would say if I had to guess, just because of how they've been in the past, of those 4 at the bottom, I'm going to go Truex for sure has to be the favorite of those. Blaney, Kyle Busch, Keselowski. So I would say Truex more than likely, but I could definitely see Blaney doing it. Blaney is solid at Martinsville. He's not dominant by any means, but the dude is solid, and he just needs something to go his way to get a win there.
Blaney, I feel, is a guaranteed top 10, barring the unforeseen this weekend. Blaney is a guaranteed top 10 in my opinion.
He swept the stages in the spring at Martinsville, which I think people forget. I don't remember where he finished, but he was up front for most of the race.
Blaney may
top 5.
Blaney may be a guaranteed top 10, but I feel like Truex is a guaranteed top 3. So I like Truex's chances better.
Yeah, I kind of agree with your rankings though, Jared. I'd put Truex, Blaney, and then I think you said Keselowski, then Logano, or what? I don't know what you put.
Kyle Busch, but I only put Kyle Busch because he's ahead right now.
No, I agree. I think I put Kyle Busch as probably third. So I'm looking at, not to spoil the end of the show, but I think Blaney or Truex, it's going to come down to the two of them. Obviously Kyle Busch, because they'll be around, but if I had to pick, I think it's going to be Blaney or Truex.
So in the spring, I'm looking at it now. Truex only led 20 laps en route to his win. Hamlin led the most, 276, but Blaney finished 11th. He had 157 laps led.
Say he was up front. He was running.
So he led a lot of laps.
Yeah.
And then looking at the stages too, you want to hear something really freaking weird?
What?
The stages, Blaney swept first in them, but Hamlin swept second. Truex swept third, and Elliott swept fourth.
Ooh,
and then
boring race. No passing, no anything.
And then here's something even more. So Larson, he was fifth in the first one, but in stage 2, Bowman was up front, and Bowman was also up front in stage 1, as was Byron and Keselowski. So it's like you probably had the most, you probably can see from there at least the ones who probably should be viewed as favorites going into it at the very least.
Oh yeah, Martin Truex Jr. without a doubt the favorites. In my opinion, the least favorite would probably be Logano, just because he's so far back. But I mean, again, winning your in system. So
it's ironic because I honestly 2018 going into that Martinsville race, I probably would have said one of the same things. I probably would have said Logano, not necessarily a favorite. Truex, well, he hadn't won there yet, so I don't know. But now it's funny looking back at those two. Would Logano be willing to do it again?
He would, yeah, especially to make the Font Championship 4, of course. Yeah, he's proven he'll do it once, he'll do it again. And then ultimately that move did lead to his first and only Cup Series championship.
He calls that his championship car.
Yeah.
So I would see Logano being somebody up there who would take them 3 wide on the last restart and just say, screw it, whoever I piss off, because
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Clint Barker.
Oh yeah.
I feel like he wouldn't need Ryan Newman to bump him in the corner to go 3 wide. He'd just straight up be like, all right, I'm gonna take out who should I take out here? Let's take out Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott for the win.
Eeny, meeny, miny, all of them.
Eeny, miny, all. I love that.
Oh, wouldn't this be the culmination of how their relationship has been going? Brad, you're leaving anyways.
Yeah. I won't surprise me, bro.
He takes out Brad and Blaney,
and then Penske's like, okay,
you better win this damn
you better win the championship, dude. Seriously, you better win the championship at least. Oh my goodness.
He takes out Harvick, and Harvick gets out of the car and is still mad at Chase Elliott.
He still goes off on him.
It's gonna be wild, man. It's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be fun, and me and Jared, we're gonna be there in person. And I've never been to Martinsville too.
Freeze our asses off. We're gonna get fat off hot dogs.
Well, yeah, we'll have some hot dogs.
Darian, take $40 and get hot dogs.
Oh yeah, dude, I got it. I got you, bro. I'm getting me the hot dogs.
Our arteries will be clogged. It will be great.
Now, speaking of high cholesterol and other things that are high ratings, let's talk about that.
The ratings.
I don't like that one, Darian. We gotta retire that one.
Okay, all right.
Please, below God.
Fine. We'll retire it.
Okay, high cholesterol ratings. Let's talk about that. 1.26 rating for Kansas, 2.105 million viewers in the United States. The last 3 Kansas races on NBC do not have a comparable race for that, because this one was this one on NBCSN?
Yeah, this was cable.
Okay.
Yes.
So we don't really have anything to compare this to. But, well, we're not to it yet. We're going to have a special guest come on in a little bit to talk about the F1 race, but that is the most comparable thing, I'd say.
It's definitely what all the eyeballs were on. Still, what they proved is that NASCAR and Formula One are not still super comparable in the United States, at least, but they're closing in. But yeah, we'll talk about Formula One a little bit later.
Yeah. But you know what we can talk about right now, Darian?
That's the poll, the famous iceberg poll. Do we have a new poll record?
No, we don't. But we don't
Stop
have to
asking that. It's put me in a down.
I ask it every weekend, man.
We almost hit 15K. All right, we're good.
That's good numbers though. That's pretty good.
Nice.
We're racing it up still. So yeah, about 15,000 of you voted. 13% of you said that this was a great race. 50% said that it was good. The UFO is talking to me for some reason. 28% of you said it was average. 6% said below average. And 4% of you said that this was a bad race. So 10% of you are net negative. 63% net positive. I feel like we've been in the net negative like double digits a while now.
We have.
Maybe our base is just getting more negative.
No, it's the Chase Elliott fans mad that Larson's winning. That's what it is.
We'll attribute it to that. But looking at the comments here, I'll just read through a few of them. So the top one on my end says, it's from GH Camp 24, says Parker Kligerman beat half the field in the Gaunt Brothers car. That's got to be embarrassing for those who finished behind him.
It is, yeah. I mean, you ain't lying there.
And it's his first. I believe that's his first Cup race of the year.
It is, yeah. He didn't run the Cup Series all year.
First Cup race in years. I don't know when his last one was.
Oh, he's been competitive in trucks. Like his name always pops up, and you're like, "Oh, there's Parker Kligerman in 9th. What the heck?"
And like the 75 Food Country truck.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's a positive comment for us. Mr. NASCAR JG24 says that was a hell of a way to send this generation of car in this package out. Epic drama, epic battles all day, and it's incredibly fitting that the 5 in this scheme won today.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's look at what a Chase Elliott fan has to say. Irving Boy 11 has a Chase Elliott user profile. Says that sure doesn't look like 80% effort to me. He's so good at winning. And here, well, we must, of course, be balanced as all things should be. Andrew Meyer with a negative comment says, I can't believe NASCAR ran this package last year and brought it back again. Matt Kenseth 2020. Danny delivers. Roses are red, violets are blue. Kyle Busch saying it's killed. We're done. Everything's great. It's F2.
Either he's the king of sarcasm or he's just melodramatic. Probably both.
He's overdramatic. He's just being overdramatic.
Let's see what we got here. Caleb Hopkins says, I was there in person and my dad and myself really enjoyed ourselves. Although it helps that our 2 favorite drivers finished first and second. So let's see what else we got here. Evernham number 9 says, still limited by the 550 package, but better than last week's race because Kansas is awesome. I think got positive at the end.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's see what else we got here. Ryan Felix says, I saw you walk by on Saturday. Had my 2 little boys with me or would have ran up and said, hey, well, hi, Ryan. I'm sorry that I couldn't stop.
That's what's up.
I don't even remember like what I was doing after the race Saturday or before or whatever. I
saw you tried to stream. Did you end up streaming or no?
No. So the reception was great. And then the race ended and it's like they cut it off.
Dang.
Like it literally, like I couldn't even get up. I couldn't get my GPS up.
Because I saw it in my subscription box like at midnight that same night. And I was like, I
had to delete it on Monday. Like it was bad. Let's get one more before we go to whoever was the first comment, because that will not always be negative. Let's see what we got here. Scrolling. Well, this person's name is Daniel. I'm trying to see. He has Matt Benedetto as his profile pic. Says, it was fine. So
it was all right.
Oh, sorry you feel that way.
I'll try and stream on Saturday, by the way. Nice. Not Saturday, Sunday. All right, let's see. I'm going to scroll now all the way down and see what the first one was. What are your preliminary picks? Positive or negative?
Negative.
Keep scrolling.
And Eric says -2.
Negative.
Okay, if it's one I've already read, do you want me to just go to the next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
All right, because the Danny Delivers Roses Are Red one was the oldest comment.
The first. He's quick. He's quick with this.
He is. I feel like he had that one like teed up and ready.
He's got a Google Doc of Denny Deliver style comments just ready to go. Copy paste. Copy paste.
All right. So the user profile Kyle Larson is the one who put this. Positive or negative?
Oh, it's gonna be positive.
Positive.
Then.
It has to be positive.
Oh yeah. Oh, if it's negative, I'm gonna scream.
I'll say negative. I'm gonna still say negative here.
No, it's positive.
All right. So Kyle Larson here says, "Great because I won again and kept my momentum going."
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All it took was a Kyle Larson fan in our.
That is the most. That's one of the most positive last comments we've gotten.
Wow. Did he probably had like a million Chase Elliott fans coming after him in the replies.
Thumb down.
I already got rid of it, so
everybody disliked that.
But thank you all for voting. Thank you all for commenting. We got 2 more left this year, so let's make them good. Let's make them count.
All right.
Yep.
It's late for you out there in Virginia, isn't it, Darian?
Dude, it's like almost 9 o'clock. This is crazy. I hate this East Coast time. Yo.
And I gotta ask, I'm just surprised. I always thought it would be me who had deer heads in their background.
Hey, look at this. This is my freaking auntie's husband, bro. Look at this dude. This is those are some nice deer. He's a man of
strapping gentleman.
He's a serious hunter, man. He's a serious hunter. He said he's gonna take me sometime. That's gonna be fun.
That's way better than anything I've ever killed hunting. So
yeah, no, he's killed a lot in his heyday. Yeah, he eats deer meat like every day. It's good. It's good.
The most Virginia thing I've ever heard.
As you should. I always said hunting wise, I would never kill an animal I didn't intend on eating. So
yeah, but this East Coast time, man. Oh, I don't know. It's gonna take some time to get used to, bro.
Well, what was killed was a few of those Xfinity cars on Saturday.
That's a great segue.
That was a perfect one.
And practically the whole field was destroyed by Ty Gibbs.
Yeah. So Jarrett, you were there. So give us like the full summary, because Harrison Burton, Noah Gragson, and Sam Mayer, they were battling for like, what was it, 20 laps?
It was
something like
awesome. That was awesome, because you could see like the momentum, like whoever chose the bottom would just scream it down in there. Mm-hmm. And if they were close enough, I mean, even my paper's trying to go down as low as some of them were going. And like, they would scream down into the corner. They'd pull a slide job. And then all of a sudden, like the other ones would pull a crossover move, and they'd go 3 wide again into turns 1 and 2. Someone would have momentum on the high side. They'd fall behind 2 of them, then scream past them. It was that way lap after lap after lap. It was so damn good. And then Sam Mayer weaponized his inexperience. And
look,
what is he doing?
Go ahead. Let me clarify. Sam Mayer is he's proven to be super talented. He won at Bristol in one of his first Truck Series starts. In Xfinity, he has shown flashes of promise. I mean, it's been a very up and down. I've seen him. He's ran good in some races.
He had one good race. I think it was Richmond, I want to say, a few
weeks ago. But also the Roval too, he ran pretty good there.
He was fine. Yeah, there was a race where he drove he wasn't in the 8. He was in a different car that was Junior Motorsports prepared, and he ran.
BJ McLeod, he was driving.
Yeah, he was in like the 99. He was up in the top 5. I think it was Richmond. That one, okay, he did. Sam Mayer's great. I think Sam Mayer is very talented, but he needs this offseason now, because he is not focused. He has lost all mojo, all momentum he had winning back-to-back ARCA East championships. He is not the same driver. He needs an offseason bad.
I want to clarify something too, because like this is a trend we're starting to see from him, because we were actually there for the first time he bumped somebody out of the way at Bristol 2019. Remember, Danny? Chase Cabry, you have his bumper in your house act.
Yes, we have that bumper sitting right up on top of our big.
They threw it over the pit wall, and I just went over by the trash can and just grabbed it.
Me and Claudia stared at that thing forever, but we thought it was like someone was going to like attack us if we tried to pick it up. Then Darian actually picks it up.
I just like go over there, but seriously though, Sam Mayer in K&N, ARCA, the Truck Series, Xfinity, like for as talented of a driver as he is, and I think he will progress to be in the future, like in terms of driver etiquette, he still has a long way to go in that category. Like it's one thing to race guys like, Ty Gibbs hard, because, those guys are right around the same age, or they are the same age, I believe, or if not
roughly,
roughly around the same age. And, he's in top equipment, and then Gibbs is in top equipment, so obviously, very competitive. You're going to battle for, harder against him, but to take out not just one, but 2 playoff drivers, one of them being your teammate too, Noah Gragson, I watched his post-race interview. He took full responsibility, but still, stuff like that is completely unacceptable.
Noah Coleman in the chat saying, are you saying we need to impeach the mayor?
I love that. I was just about to say that. That's a good one.
I like Sam Mayer. Like I said, he's very talented. I just think he's in his head right now, because I know at the beginning of this year when we found out, okay, Ty Gibbs is going to run like half the races, and we found out Sam Mayer was going to run the second half, I think we were all kind of excited. Like, sure, I think Gibbs we knew was in a slightly better car, but I think we thought the 2 of them might duke it out. We might see them both in the top 5 pretty consistently, and it'll look like the old K&N days for a minute there. 2 bright young stars, battling it out. And unfortunately, we have not gotten that. Sam Mayer in 16 races has an average finish of 21st, and he has 6 DNFs. That's unacceptable. That's just terrible. He hasn't been nowhere to be found, unfortunately.
Have they even, I know at the beginning of the season and even last season, it seemed like it was all but official that Sam would have been full-time in the 8 next year. Now we know it's going to be Josh Berry. Has it even been announced if he's full-time or not next year?
He is. I think they're moving numbers around. He might end up in the 1 because I think they said Dale Jr. is going to run the 88 when he races at Martinsville next year.
Yes,
so I think Mayer, I don't know what number Mayer will be, but I think he will be back next year, which is why I just hope this offseason does wonders for him because I think he's a good, I was about to say he's a good kid, but I guess I can say that he's like 4 years younger than me. He's a good kid. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a student of the game. He doesn't seem
4.
He's like 4 years younger. How old is he? Isn't he like 18, 19?
He was born in 2003.
He's a kid. He's a kid. So my point is he seems very emotionally mature for his age, but he's clearly lost some focus. He's lost that edge because he's made some mistakes this year and the results have not been good.
Well, no, my point is this has been a thing he's been doing for years, just kind of running some guys over and stuff. So, I mean, again, for as much success as he has had up to this point, he needs to spend the offseason to really self-evaluate his driving style. You know what I mean? He
just kind of slow things down, kind of, get it in perspective. Because like next year, going full-time.
That's different. It's a whole different beast.
Yeah, it's a long game. So I have confidence in him. If he's doing this stuff like by the end of next year, like that's where I'm gonna be like, hold up a second, something's not right here.
Exactly.
So I'm not too concerned. I just think it's a young driver who might just be a tad over his head, but I think he has the talent to overcome that pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, he certainly has the equipment too.
The talent and equipment is freaking Ty Gibbs. Jesus Christ!
Oh my goodness. 4 wins before the age of 20.
Just when
wins.
Just when people start to doubt him a little bit because he kind of gave us some concerns like the last few races he's been in. Then he's like, okay, I'll win again.
He's just, I mean, like clearly that is the best Gibbs car in Xfinity, but I mean, you still have to drive it. And I mean, just he's way mature beyond his years on the racetrack.
I think I heard you guys talking about this last week. Y'all was talking about how, obviously now this is win number 4 is it 4 or 5 at this point?
4.
Okay, win number 4 for him this year. Obviously Kyle Busch got 5 wins. Who else won? Christopher Bell won. Is that all the people that have won?
I believe so.
Oh no, John Hunter a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
John Hunter and I think Denny Hamlin and Ty Dillon are the only people. Oh yeah, Truex races.
Truex.
But they only did like 1 race.
So yeah, those are the only 3 who haven't won in that car this year.
Yeah, it's like if a top 10 run in that 54 car this year is like an extremely bad run, man. Just based on all the results. Yeah, basically, it's like extremely bad. And then like a top 15 finish in that car, it's like you didn't even show up, you just DNQ'd. You know what I mean? It's like, but I mean, hey, props to him, man. He's really showing a lot of promise, and we still don't know his plans for next year. However, though, right?
Not for sure. No.
If I had to guess. He might be fond of that number 54 at this point. He might want to keep that, and then the 18 becomes their all-star car again. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Go with it.
We'll see. But yeah, props to him.
I was surprised though, kind of looking a bit. I want to shout a few people out here. Like Ryan Sieg has been a disappointment this year.
He finally came back this weekend. Finally came back to life.
And
good for him.
And actually just announced that. The CMR company, they're coming back on with them next year. They've got an alliance with, I think, Roush Engines and Stewart Haas Racing, so they got some good things for next year, too.
Yeah, so hopefully that they can re-up and kind of get back where they were before 2020. And then Brandon Brown got a top 15 recovering from that wreck at Texas.
Quite literally, let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, and then Bailey Curry up in 16, so he had a really good run.
That's 2 good runs in a row for that Curry guy. He's someone we got to watch out for a little bit.
That Curry guy.
That's Steph Curry guy. But no, he's doing good. Yeah, props to him.
Yeah, but I think the big thing to look at though is the playoff cut line. Like it's not as close overall. But Danny, I gotta say, like that cutoff line still is relatively close, heading into a pretty wild track for the Xfinity cars.
Really, okay, it's close, but it's only going to be about 3 guys. Gregson is minus 24, which he might be able to.
He's good at Martinsville. He leads lots of laps.
He's won at Martinsville in trucks. He won at a short track this year, didn't he? Was it Richmond?
Yes.
That was her.
So he's won at a short track this year. I don't see why he couldn't win here this weekend. But I think I'm going to say for the standings here, it's going to stay the same. Cindric and Allmendinger, they would have to go mega Harvick to lose both of them a plus 47 gap.
They're basically nearly a full race ahead.
Let me just say this really quick. Daniel Hemrick, you can't catch any luck, man. He was up front and, once again, awesome recovery, but his gap should be way higher than just plus 7. But I mean, hey, it's just, hey, luck of the draw, I guess. But dude, looking at the rest of this grid too, I mean, Justin Haley's, right there, -7. And then, I don't know, unless Harrison Burton or Brendan Jones win, they're pretty much out of it. And I don't see that happening. Noah Gragson, though, I mean, even though he's -24, I mean, we have seen him shine at certain tracks that you're like, oh, I didn't really expect him to run that well there. But I mean, Martinsville, he's proven, I mean, I think he's ran there just a few times and he's ran okay. But I mean, I feel like for the playoffs, Junior Motorsports are obviously going to send him, some of their best equipment this weekend and stuff to give him a better chance.
Like I said, Gragson he leads laps and
he does,
and he gets top 5s. I could still see him pointing his way in. I mean, I'm gonna say this right now. I think Cindric and Allmendinger are locks. I think Allgaier is probably pretty consistent to be up there. I don't trust Haley, and I really don't trust Hemrick because the racing gods hate him. I think Gragson will get that last spot.
And it's it's not a knock on his talent either. It's just he just can't have any luck, man. Even when he's running up front, and the case in point last week at Kansas, just something always happen, whether it's during the long run, on a restart, it doesn't matter.
Eric in the chat says Noah has a podium finish every Xfinity race at Martinsville he's been in.
Oh, well, see, there you go. He has a proven track record. See, yeah, he can come in and just win. Easy.
So did he finish? Did he finish second to Barry last time?
Second or third? Let me check. I believe.
Yeah.
I know he was, and I know he's up front. He was a major factor.
He's been solid. He's been solid lately. I mean, it was a shame he got wrecked at Kansas because he put himself in a good spot after Texas. He was looking pretty good on points. He DNF'd and he's still -24. He could have been easily down there where Harrison Burton is if he'd been worse.
Yeah.
Yes, he finished second in that race, and then the previous race that they had at this track, he finished third. He led 23 laps there. I think it was 10 or 19 or somewhere in there.
So Gragson is definitely one to watch this weekend.
Oh yeah,
it'll be fun. He'll put on a show. We know that.
Oh yeah, he'll do what he has to do if necessary. Definitely.
Well, on that note, that is a look at the standings for the Xfinity Series. Now, quick note about the ratings for the Xfinity Series. It received a .78 rating and actually achieved 1.306 million viewers, which I think was still higher than the F1 race at COTA this weekend.
That's a good number for Xfinity.
It was a good number.
It's weird when they're on NBC and Cup is on NBC.
Yeah, I still can't get used to that.
Sometimes that just is what it is, but that's a good number for Xfinity.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think more people need to be exposed to how good Xfinity has been as the UFO continues to talk. Shh.
We don't hear it. What is it?
I don't hear it.
It's just rattling. Just rattling.
Oh.
Yeah, it's shaking a little bit.
Sounds like Joey Logano's car at Texas.
Oh, goodness. Damn.
Rattling.
We got a vibration here.
Well,
vibration on the UFO. Carnival!
Well, real quick here. We just mentioned about the ratings comparisons for the Xfinity Series versus the F1 race. There was a big F1 race in the United States this weekend happening over at Circuit of the Americas. And as you can tell, we are all NASCAR YouTubers. We're not really the biggest experts in NASCAR, so we want to bring in someone from the world of F1 YouTube. We're bringing in Miss Deanna. She is from the YouTube channel Relapped F1. You can subscribe to her on YouTube and also follow her on Twitter and Instagram, other social medias. Hey, Deanna, thanks for joining us.
Hello. Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. Of course.
So you were at the race this weekend, right?
I was, in all of its glory, in all of the heat, with all of the people.
That sounds familiar. We were three of us were at COTA for the NASCAR race, and it was about the same.
The rain was slapping us so hard.
Oh,
it was
God.
crazy.
It's either hot or it's muddy. It's never. There's no in between around here. But yeah, so they said there were over 140,000 people there on. So were you there all 3 days? First and foremost, did you see the whole scale of it?
Yes, I was there all 3 days. I was a little late to FP1 because I didn't think there was going to be a whole lot of traffic getting there. But I was surprised off the bat. It was probably should have been about a 20-minute drive, or I took the shuttle. But it ended up being an hour and a half for the first practice just to get into the track. I mean, granted, it doesn't seem like they have the greatest infrastructure out there, but that was kind of the first signal that this weekend was going to be something else.
So what was your favorite aspect to this weekend's race?
Well, I've never seen the cars in person, and I spent most of my weekend in the S's, and it was just seeing the cars change the direction like that. Like you could see them lean, especially in qualifying, and looking at it from the back. You could see kind of the tire walls bending, and it was just really, really awesome to see that in person. Yeah, that was probably, it was great.
Well, real quick, I want to kind of ask, like, when it comes to all the hype this past weekend, like everything was F1. Everything, yes. Like every motorsports fan that I saw, every publication was all F1, and it was like comparing F1 to NASCAR. Now we're obviously more NASCAR fans, but I kind of want to ask from your perspective as more of an F1 fan, like how do you kind of view how NASCAR and F1 kind of can coexist, or how they view each other, like, because it seems like it's like the first time we've had this kind of scenario in the States like this.
Yeah, I don't really think there is much of a battle at this point between NASCAR and F1. I think you have two completely different fan bases coming from two completely separate places. Here in the States, you have people kind of growing up with it, with NASCAR in their families. You're close to all of these tracks. It's a lot more accessible, just location, especially price. After we see in some of the Miami ticket prices. So I think there's a lot of just like homegrown US fans, whereas Netflix has been a huge impact for F1, and it's much more international. And I feel like the Netflix series has more gotten new fans completely into motorsports. It's not poaching NASCAR fans or really any other motorsports fans. I think it's just getting new people in here. So we're not seeing a shift, we're seeing a growth. At least from what I can tell. There might be a little bit of that in the younger demographics, because it was like NASCAR had a little bit lower in the 18 to 49, but I think just in general, that's an older fan base than F1 is. But I think this is honestly just a great thing overall. I think there will be some kind of trickling between the different series as it tends to grow. So it's just a growth of the viewer base rather than people kind of leeching off of others.
Real quick, if I can ask you this, because you said something about the pricing for Miami. I haven't even inquired on that. So can you?
I applied. It was bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the ticket prices. So I did buy tickets. Maybe not my greatest financial decision, but so COTA this weekend, if they really did truly have 400,000 in attendance, that means there was 160,000 on race day. Miami's goal is to have 80,000 on race day. And that they want to cap it there. And if I'm going to say demand's the same for both, and you're cutting supply in half, so those prices are going to go up. So I don't think, yes, it's incredibly excessive. The prices are outrageous, but I don't think it's out of step with what the COTA prices are.
Okay.
No, I kind of want to like turn back to like your fandom of F1. So where I want to ask, because I admit I've subscribed to your channel and I follow you a bit, but I don't know exactly where you started too much with it.
Yes.
So has this just been like, like for me, I've been a fan of NASCAR since I was 7 years old. Is that how it is kind of with you, or is it like you got into it the last couple of years? Like how did you get into F1? Is what I want to ask.
It's been a relatively new thing. I think I was always familiar kind of with motorsports as a whole. We would watch any kind of race with me and my dad, like whenever it came on, F1, NASCAR, whatever, but we never fully got into or committed to a series. But it was only a few years ago. It was the 2019 German Grand Prix. I caught a replay of it. That race is insane. If anybody's ever seen it, it was great. And I was just immediately hooked. So I just spent like a couple years learning everything I could. And then I started my channel because I wanted to go back and watch all of the old races, so that not only I could learn about all the historic stuff and how we got to where we are today, but I could share that with everybody else. So that's how the channel started. So I was doing historic race reactions. Those have slowed down a little bit, but I'm going to get back to it. This year I started reacting to the races as they happen, and then I do a little recap and post that after the race. So I've gotten some good traction there. And so, yeah, that's just a summary of my experience.
No, her content's really awesome, guys. I subbed like when she had less than 1,000 subs. I was like, oh, this channel's pretty cool. So yeah, no, it was awesome content.
So,
yeah.
Sorry. Oh, go ahead, Danny.
I was just going to say, I know some people like to watch, my wife and I, we stream us watching older NASCAR races. So if you are watching my channel and you see this and you want something similar to F1, Relapped F1 of Deanna seems like a good option for you guys. Now, Eric, back to what you were saying.
Well, I want to go back because I agree with what you were saying about Formula One gaining so many fans in the United States that I don't think they're getting from IndyCar or NASCAR so much. I think they're just straight up getting, new fans that never really considered any sort of motorsport. But you also talked about, and we noticed it as well, that on the TV ratings front, NASCAR still got more than F1. That's not super shocking, but in the 18 to 49, that younger demo, F1 seemed to have the slight edge. And that's, I kind of want to ask, why do you think Formula One is gaining such inroads, especially in America with younger audiences? Is it purely Netflix, or what is it about the racing product itself, what that sets it apart from other motorsports? Why do you think young fans seem to go to F1 before NASCAR? And I don't know how much NASCAR you watch, but from your, as an F1 fan's perspective, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I think, my foray into NASCAR is recent. I did go to the Roval, which was a great time. So I'm trying to get more into it. But that kind of stems from starting to get into F1 and learning more from there. Yeah. But anyway, I think why younger fans are more into it, I think there's a lot of reasons. Well, it just kind of grew because we had a bit of a perfect storm here. We had Netflix coming out with Drive to Survive. Then COVID happened. Everybody's at home. Everybody's watching Netflix, and that comes out of it. Then motorsports is one of the very first things that returned after the pandemic. So you had all these new fans just wanting to watch something. And then on top of that, I think even as other sports started to come back, motorsports in general seemed to be the less impacted. It didn't impact the product. I'm a huge college basketball fan. I did not watch. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't watch as much. Yeah.
The cardboard cutouts in the stands.
Yeah. It was so cringe. Yeah.
Yes. But you didn't get that with anything like F1, NASCAR, anything like that. So I think you came back to something that felt normal, which helped. But as for the product itself, I think it's just super easy to get into. It's whoever crosses the line first, that's who wins. I think it's a little less complicated than NASCAR without the stages and the playoffs.
That's an understatement. Major understatement.
And then I think it's also a lot clearer to understand with teams because you have two drivers on one team. They look the same. They're very recognizable brands. I think that's where, NASCAR and then IndyCar, teammates. My one example, I went to Nashville for IndyCar and Will Power hit every single one of his teammates for the most part. And so, but I think that would have had much more impact if they were all in the same liveries and all the fans that are kind of new know exactly, he hit his teammate. So I think something like that kind of adds to the clarity. And then you only have 20 drivers and those 20 drivers stay the same. And then I have a lot of reasons, sorry. I would say the graphics themselves, they're clear, they're easy to understand. I think everything that NBC has seems like it's stuck in 2008. And it's just needs a refresh. Mm-hmm. And then
those are our good ones.
That's the good channel.
Yeah. And so I think there's a lot of that. And then again, with the Netflix series, you're understanding the people, and that's what really brings people in. And then they've done so much with their social media channels. And those drivers are in your face all the time, every day. You're always connecting with them. I think they do a really great job with their team radios, kind of knowing which driver is talking and kind of about what and creating storylines through that. I think the connecting the FIA radio, talking to the teams, you're just creating all these storylines as the race is happening. And it really just kind of brings you in, and it feels more, I don't know, sometimes less like a race, more like a bit more storytelling than I think
an event.
Other series get. Yes. Yeah.
A huge event. Yeah. And also to add more to that too, the reason I started getting into it more was because, the NASCAR games haven't been the best in recent years. And then I was looking for a motorsports console game that I could really play. And F1 2021, really that entire series for the past 3 to 4 years has been my go-to on the PS4, or was before I sold it. So that was a major reason too as well.
Yeah. That actually brings me into exactly what I was just going to say, Darian. And Grant, I don't want to get into this right now, but it's been, NASCAR Twitter has been very fun to say the least of the newest NASCAR game that's come out. So I want to ask you from an F1 YouTube channel perspective, how do you feel the F1 video games play into probably expanding people's like knowledge of sport, because my boss, who's actually over me of the work that I do, he's a big F1 fan. He told me that he bought the game mostly because it would give him a chance to get to know who some of the drivers are a little bit more.
Yeah. I've only played the game a couple of times because I can't figure out how to re-download it onto this computer, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, I think it's great. I think you have kind of these two separate factions. I think in the kind of F1 YouTube space, there are huge F1 kind of game YouTubers, and then just ones that talk about F1 in general. So it's a massive community, and the gaming communities tends to be bigger than the kind of rest of us over here. So I think it's an absolute massive impact, and you see all sorts of people playing the game that aren't necessarily involved in motorsports. I think it's probably one of the more accessible ones. So yeah, it definitely helps.
You said that this was your first time going to Circuit of the Americas, seeing any F1 race in person.
Yes.
I know you're going to Miami next year, but it'll be a smaller crowd. Would you go back to COTA next year or the year after? Absolutely.
And I think after next year, I will definitely do COTA over Miami. I also do probably Canada over Miami. I just really like the idea of a first-time event and seeing what it's like. And I actually talked to a girl that's helping with the marketing down there. And so they're really trying to make it a Super Bowl level event, which they definitely have some practice with down in Miami. So I just want to be there, experience it. I think it's definitely going to be more event than probably the race itself. That track maybe doesn't look the best, but you might get some crazy Florida weather. So it could be really something. And then hopefully the 22 cars do a lot better following. So we'll see.
For sure. One thing I wanted to ask you, from an outsider perspective, because you just stated you're more into F1 than NASCAR, what do you think NASCAR can learn from Formula One in terms of like marketing and all that stuff to make it better?
Yeah, I think it is more so the people connection. So another big factor that I didn't mention earlier that's made F1 so big this past year is Lewis versus Max.
Yes.
It's the rivalry. Mm-hmm. It was people waiting at 5 a.m. so that they could stand in turn one to see that happen. So I think it's more, again, the people and promoting those rivalries. And then I think like the Elliott Harvick stuff was hysterical, and like all that should be like more, and just kind of getting in front of people and kind of doing the storylines that way. Again, the better graphics package, it drives me up a wall because I think it gets a little bit confusing, and then you have commercials cutting in, which is its own issue, separate issue, but not probably much you can do to get around that. So yeah, I just think there's more ways to make it more interactive. I also think I love F1 TV, but having like data streams and time like that, and having more access to the data and telemetry that all the drivers have, I think that makes it adds a whole other level when you're watching this race. So stuff like that, I maybe don't have the best ideas, but yeah. So
you'd said that you went to the Roval. You've obviously went to COTA this past week, and then you said Nashville, correct, with the GP for IndyCar?
Yep. I went to Nashville, and I went to Gateway, and then I went to the Formula E New York E-Prix.
Okay, so
that's my
how in person is it kind of different? Like what's the same? What's different? Because like I hear a lot of people talk about like what made COTA a big thing this past week was the fact that it was a huge event, and a lot of people compared it to the way NASCAR was in the early 2000s, which I got to at least experience a bit of that, and I know that feeling. It's an awesome one, and so I'm kind of like, what do you think? Because I'm going to assume that you favor F1 over the other two. I that's not assuming too much, right?
Yes and no. I will actually say my favorite. I mean, I love COTA. It was great. I'm an F1 fan first, but I think my favorite thing that I went to this year was Nashville.
Okay.
But that was also because the race was just bonkers.
Okay, so I want to ask this because I live in Hendersonville, Tennessee, basically right outside of Nashville. I didn't get to go to Music City Grand Prix because I had a scheduling conflict that same weekend, and you might be able to argue this for Eric to go to COTA for F1 next time too. Tell us why we should go to these events in our own backyard.
Yes, so I think. Well, Nashville was great just because it was like, it felt like that kind of party environment that COTA had, but like you could breathe and move around, which was nice. That was my one thing about COTA. I will not do a general admission ticket again because you have to get there at 7 o'clock in the morning to get a halfway decent seat. And there was just so many people, and it took about an hour to do anything. Food, go to the bathroom, like it just took.
Was this for Music City Grand Prix?
Oh no, this is COTA.
Okay.
But the Music City Grand Prix, it like felt busy and it was just like a fun like crowd and energy, but it wasn't like I'm gonna just be like eaten up by all these people. I also just don't like being crowded and a mass of people. So this last weekend was fun. Like I think the COTA, the racing product itself was great. And there was all sorts of stuff to do. The food was great. There was so many things to do, and going out in Austin, there was just like great atmosphere, but getting anywhere and doing anything was a lot of effort and took a very long time. So that's just I enjoyed Nashville because it felt kind of similar in that environment, but wasn't quite the overwhelming amount of people that this was. But yeah, I love those. But I also did really, really enjoy the Roval, but that is definitely, you just go there for the race and that's it. Like there was nothing else going on. But I think that was a lot of fun to be at a street course, which is obviously something that I prefer. Not that I have any issue with an oval, but for me personally, that's just kind of what I'm more familiar with. But being able to sit there and see basically the entire track is really cool. And so it was a little less confusing at times than some of these other races at kind of the bigger street courses and stuff. It's very easy to get lost very quickly. So, but yeah, that's kind of my experiences with all of them.
So when it comes to like NASCAR races, like what would it take for you to be like, I want to go to this race? Is it just like, you know, the type of racing on the track added in with everything going on outside? Because I know like a lot of people have said what you had said is like you go to the race for NASCAR and it's just the race. Like when I went to Talladega, it was you just walk into Talladega and you get to see Redneck Mecca. And so like, would it take more of like having to build up around it to go to more NASCAR racers, to be more intrigued by it? Because I'm curious for someone who's not necessarily a diehard NASCAR fan as much as we are, like what it would take. Because for us, it's like, you know, there's a race. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, I would just go. Like, I'm not very picky about the whole situation, but like if I'm looking at Talladega versus something like Daytona, I will go to Daytona 100%. Because I'd rather be in personally a better location, but also at the same time, like, I don't know, if it's going to be a great race, then I'll go anywhere. But if it's going to be an average race in a random place, then it's like, I'm okay.
If I can make a suggestion, hearing you said you went to the Roval, is it safe to assume you're from North Carolina in that area?
I am.
Okay.
But I'm from Raleigh. I feel like everybody that's into it's from Charlotte, so.
Okay. Well, since you're out in that area and it isn't that far away, you have to experience the night race at Bristol. You say you feel like you went there and it's just the race. No, that they say it's more than just the race. It's Bristol, baby. That's because it's an atmosphere outside of the track, and then the race itself is just it's hard to put words on it.
Yeah. I'll check it out.
You mentioned not being able to breathe. Because people around you at a COTA. At Bristol, you can't breathe because the cars are on top of you, and it's kind of like, what is going on?
Well, that's a better. I would prefer that over the people.
Yeah,
cool.
Definitely the night race. Like when we went in 2019, and I think that it's going to start, you know, with everything sort of getting normalized. So we get back to this. When we went in 2019, just like there was that electric feel in the air. And it's what's really cool too, is it sort of is in the middle of nowhere, but there's so much stuff that they put around it that I don't know if it's from each way, but every way I've gone to Bristol is you're basically driving through the Tennessee mountains and all of a sudden they just open up and there's this giant Coliseum in the middle of the mountains.
That's awesome.
And then
it is an awesome
and then
backdrop.
I don't know why it works out this way too, but you take I-81 there, you get off the exit, and then you just come through this little small town of Bluff City, and it's like you're right in the middle of basically small town Tennessee, your ideal small town, and then boom, like you just look over to your left one time, and you see it off in the distance. It's always a view that gives me chills every time I'm driving through there.
Bluff City, that's a good name for a small town in the middle of Tennessee mountains.
I wanted to get this question out of the way before you head off tonight. So the ratings came out. Obviously NASCAR, they beat F1 ratings this weekend, and I have to admit, me personally, like, I mean, obviously being a much bigger NASCAR fan, I was a little shocked just because, like, all of these media outlets would have made you think that. At the very least, the 2021 U.S. Grand Prix would have probably been slightly ahead of NASCAR in terms of the overall ratings. Just what are your thoughts on that? I mean, like, were F1 fans like bummed out, or were they, you know, pretty much just accepting like, hey, you know, NASCAR's NASCAR, they're obviously going to be on TV?
Yeah, I don't think the F1 fans really care, but I feel like I don't know. Everybody, I feel like, wants to just say motorsports because they're all just in a car. But I feel like NASCAR and sports cars is very different from open wheel racing, and that is a completely different sport entirely. And I think there's just kind of this generalization where, okay, they're driving, so like it's all kind of the same. But I just think they kind of live in separate lanes, and then we kind of get to talk about it, and it's like maybe they kind of overlap, but I don't think necessarily at the end of the day that they do.
I gotcha. Well, hey, Deanna, you're definitely more of the expert on F1 and than we are, and we want to thank you first of all for coming in and kind of talking with us a little bit more from your
enlightening
perspective
us.
there.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Deanna, where can people find you on YouTube and your social medias? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, so I am on YouTube at Relapse, and then on social media at relapse_F1 on Twitter and Instagram. And then I'm also on a podcast, and that is Outlap F1 Podcast.
Cool. Sweet.
All right, go check her out after the stream. Go subscribe to her channel. Let's boost her numbers up. Give her the old NWP boost a little bit. Deanna, thank you for joining us. And, hey, we'll have to see you at a race sometime.
Yeah, of course.
Bristol,
Definitely.
baby.
Yeah, I'm down.
Let's make it happen.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
And I think what's next? The
mailbag question.
I'm
Yes,
excited.
the mailbag question. The famous mailbag question.
What we got, Danny?
We just got a letter.
We just got a letter. Go ahead, Danny.
All right. This comes to us. Wait, does it even? No,
Do we have a name?
It
Where did this
doesn't. It
come
doesn't
from?
say who it come from.
Where is it? Where did it
Hold
come
on.
from?
I'll get that pulled up. Just
We
read
just
the
got a
question.
letter. Don't know who it's from.
Unknown messenger.
Just read it. Just read it.
Hey guys, my question to you is this: with Kyle Larson seemingly a lock for the Final Four all playoffs long, do you think Hendrick's been preparing the championship race car this whole time to match Chase's speed from the championship race last season? Thank you all for the podcast. I listen every week. I'm at Eric in Nashville.
And this is from Austin, by the way.
Austin.
By
Hi,
Hudson.
Austin.
Hi, Austin. Thanks for sending it.
Hi, Marshall.
Let's see.
I think I wouldn't be shocked considering what was it at Texas a couple weeks ago? They said that the car Kevin Harvick was driving, they'd been like saving all year long just for that race. So if they were doing that, if SHR was doing that just for Texas and Kevin Harvick, I wouldn't be shocked if Hendrick's been working on a Phoenix specific car for months at this point. I don't know what car it could be. Like I remember with Keselowski last year, they made a big deal. He had like one car that I think won at 2 750 races. And I think they brought that one to Phoenix and he ran second in the championship. I don't know if it's that kind of situation going down for Larson here, but I absolutely would not be surprised if this is a very special. I mean, he's going to be fast. I think championship 4 will probably sweep the top 4, or at least all be in the top 5 on the championship. Larson will probably be in contention.
Yeah, they should definitely have already. That car should be sitting there ready to go on the trailer already, I'd say.
I'll be real with Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, I think, at least by the halfway point, they had to have thought, and especially with how William Byron did, we're going to get at least 2 of our cars probably in this thing.
Yeah.
And that's still very possible. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had more than one car ready.
Oh, no. Hendrick, a team like Hendrick Motorsports probably more than likely has more than one car ready for sure.
Well, remember, there's practice and qualifying for that race, so they need a backup just in case.
Yes, finally. It's been
Wait,
so long.
I forgot that we do have it for the championship. Yes.
Oh, thank goodness. That's going to be a major game.
Larson's going to back it into the fence on Friday afternoon, and it's going to be a tumultuous weekend.
Oh, we got Carnival. It's Larson.
Yeah, but to answer that mailbag question. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's where Harvick's waiting. It's like, hey, Elliot, you like your regular car? Not anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, no, to answer that question, yeah, they definitely will probably have a car definitely ready specifically for this race for Kyle Larson. I mean, Kyle Larson, I don't necessarily know his, oh no, Eric's gone. He'll be back. But no, I don't know his Phoenix statistics at all. But I mean, I'd have to assume, it's not up to the level of dominance as he would run at Homestead, So obviously they're going to prepare something to help him out better and stuff. So yeah, probably for sure. Got something ready.
Yeah, Eric's off doing his qualifying and practice laps.
He's
ready. He's
doing
ready
his
the way
thing.
the rest of us are.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
I can't wait. But yeah, so by the way, that is from Weekly Podcast Guest at gmail.com, all lowercase, and don't ask to be a guest. We will promptly not even look at it.
We will deny your request for entry.
Denied.
I'm glad my impression gets a few people because
that's funny.
Well,
so thank you, Bear Boy.
hey guys, on that note, the weekly mailbag question is brought to you by our friends over at Lino Racing, and it's very appropriate of what I've got this weekend. We've got Kyle Larson in the HendrickCars.com car, and then I really like the Eric Jones Armor All car. These are part of Wave 7, now out at your local Walmarts, Targets, wherever you get your diecast from. Jarrett, that looks beautiful. What are you rocking?
Oh, this is an old Dale Earnhardt 77 car. I think that Spire actually did a throwback to this one.
They did.
I love this car. It's absolutely beautiful. I have it right next to my Ralph Earnhardt and Curtis Turner diecast in my room. And man, like, I just look how simple all of it is compared to.
But look, it's so detailed, dude.
But yeah, they even have scuffs on the wheels here, like right here. There's like almost like a paint scuff. Then you can open it up.
Okay, so there's where Eric went. He went to go find the good stuff.
Yeah, Eric.
I got my I also had to pee, but also here's a diecast. Oh, geez, now it's way too bright.
Nice.
But
right,
yeah,
Eric,
I love these. I love all these. These all look good.
What diecast is it, Eric?
Terry Labonte. Can't you tell?
Yes.
No, because it's in the dark.
Well, actually,
Texas Terry Labonte.
It's hard to tell because your lighting keeps changing, so it keeps going dark.
Yeah.
It does.
No, we got ourselves Terry Labonte. I don't know. I was just feeling a Texas-y mood. I wanted to get this out of the closet. I don't usually have this one out on display, but this looks fantastic. I love Kellogg's cornflakes. Who doesn't?
Darian, what's going on with them wheels? They're sticking way outside the car.
I don't know, dude. So like
wheel.
So since I moved all the way from Las Vegas to Virginia, I pretty much left all of my diecasts I've shown all year on the podcast at my old apartment. So an hour before the show, I went to my 8-year-old cousin and was like, "Hey, do you have any like NASCAR diecasts?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got one. Let me get it." And then because that's he has a southern accent, so I'm doing my best impression. But no. So he ended up giving me this one. He's like, "Hey, is this one good?" I'm like, "Yes, it's perfect." So it's Bill Elliott's 1998 McDonald's 50th anniversary NASCAR scheme. And in 2018, Jamie McMurray did a throwback scheme to them. And the reason the wheels are out like this, I think this was like basically the car you got when you got a Happy Meal during that time. So like this, the stickers happen to be on it and all that stuff. So look at that. But yeah. No, the wheels are kind of meh, but hey, it's still a good scheme. I like it.
Real quick, you guys are gonna have to take over the show for a bit. I gotta go check on something real fast. Sorry about this. All right. I just need to make sure.
Shugs has a gun on him behind the camera.
Shugs stole his diecast.
Actually, it might low key be. I need to go see if Shugs ran out the garage. I don't know. So I'll be right back, guys.
He rushed for his gun.
Shugs on the run.
All right, go ahead, bro.
He's making a break for it. All right. Well, what's next, Ed? I believe there's a storm of brewing. It's that time of the night.
Yes. There's a storm of brewing. I can feel it.
Oh wait, does Danny have control of the lightning effect?
Oh yeah. Hey, we'll just pretend. Yeah, click it. Yeah, click it really fast. Oh my goodness. Hey.
It's already broke.
The lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Did it break?
Did you say the last car?
You said the last
NASCAR.
car.
No, I said NASCAR. No, I said NASCAR. Play it back.
Chat, let's fact check that while
fact check me really quick. Hey, shout out to Brock Beard though for the last car, but no. And once again, let's do it. So, oh my goodness,
he sounds less too.
Aaron, what do we have on tap for today?
Well, Steve Phelps was at least talking to. I think he was on the I Am Athlete podcast for NASCAR, and Daniel Suarez is next up. So that should be an interesting conversation.
I saw, and kind of in the same vein, I don't think it's in here, but Bubba Wallace is going to be on The Shop, HBO, I think, either today or this week or sometime soon.
He'll be on there, yeah.
Oh, they all heard last car, by the way.
Oh, dang it, I messed up, so I can mean that. Go ahead. Shout out to Brock Beard, though.
So is Daniel Ricciardo was the one who drove Dale Earnhardt's number 3 Wrangler car and is open to running Xfinity races for Dale Jr.
He's just saying that.
No,
let's get in that 88 car. Let's get in that 88 car. Let's do it. Let's do it.
He'll do it. Let's do it.
I wanted to put this in here. I know it's not too big of a thing, but for people going down for speed weeks early, next year, there is a rocket launch on February 12th, the week before the Daytona 500, that's going to return the 27th. So if you're down there, maybe any extra time, any NASCAR fans going down there, look out for that. If you're in Florida, you're probably going to be able to see a rocket go up to space. I'm going to be there that weekend. I got a marathon the next day. So, hey, we're racing. We're racing every day, man. Every day we're racing.
I was at NASA, the Space Center here in Houston the other day, and they have one of the the SpaceX reusable kind of rockets on display. And I was like, that's cool. It has me in the mood. I want to do some space stuff now.
By the way, really quick, funny story. When I was in 5th grade at LDMS, back in the day when they had the wait, can you guys hear me?
You're so quiet.
Oh my goodness. Dang, I got to
out your mic.
Dang, I got to reset it. Oh, I'll get a little closer.
He's not quiet on my end. I hear him loud.
Okay. But back in back in 5th grade, back when the Sprint Cup Series was the title sponsor, they had this fan thing where you would answer trivia questions. And one of the questions was, what does NASCAR stand for? And I kid you not, somebody said, doesn't it have something to do with NASA or something? I'm like, what the hell? It's 5th grade, bro. Oh my god. Oh,
that's rough. And speaking of space, did anyone else see the trailer for the Buzz Lightyear movie?
Yes, and then someone did a face app where they put a beard on Buzz Lightyear. Someone pointed out it looks like me.
Well, kind of going back here to the NASCAR stuff, a little more serious here.
Space.
NASCAR. No, we wish it was space. NASCAR is challenging an Ohio state tax decision from Ohio Supreme Court that says that they would charge NASCAR with additional commercial activities taxes due to being in the state of Ohio for what they're running their events. Meaning that NASCAR has challenged it just because people from Ohio can watch a NASCAR race in their state doesn't mean they can have the right to tax a Florida company. Now, where this comes into effect is the fact that, hey, can't there be races in Ohio? Well, NASCAR's not going to want to pay extra for that, so they might just pull out of Ohio until this is done.
Sorry, Mid-Ohio, and I guess that means Eldora is done. Isn't that in Ohio?
Yeah, any chance? I mean, I'm just saying, that might be something to keep a lookout for, because if you're a Mid-Ohio fan, it's already bad enough, with what the schedule has been and that you live in Ohio.
Had to slip that in there, huh?
My brother's looking at that, and I'm just like, why Ohio? But I'm just saying, keep a lookout for that. That's a big thing. Just saying, I feel bad for your TVP 83. Why your state? Well, that's what a lot of Floridans say too. So 2022 Gateway has just been announced. They will feature a pre-race show at the track on a big stage with people around, with host John Roberts and Kenny Wallace. We just need to get Jimmy Spencer in on that.
And get some Home Depot sponsorship. Come on.
I will seriously wear my Home Depot hard hat I got from them in 2007.
We are recreating NASCAR race day. Holy crap.
Well, I thought it was hilarious. I mean, Kenny Wallace, some of his rants on Twitter are somewhat nonsensical, but at least he was on a passion project this weekend. He's like, we need to make these races an event once again, something like that.
And that's a good point. We really do.
And I respect him and I guess John Roberts and the track working to make this happen. It's a shame that it took a Twitter rant from Kenny Wallace to make, a track, fork over some sort of pre-race event, but better that it happens than it doesn't happen, I guess.
NASCAR still has, quote, trackside live, but
sometimes
it's horrible. Honestly.
It's not the same. At the very least, it's definitely not the same. I mean, it's somewhat entertaining, I guess, but
it's more like someone's talking for a little bit and they don't have honestly much charisma, and then there's someone playing music. That's about it.
Well, the people who work on it, I think, are pretty cool. I've actually had the chance to speak to one of them. They're awesome. But
Jose hosts it. He's
Jose.
Great.
Okay.
The thing is, they're not there to.
Jose's a little bit different.
They're not there to talk about what's going on in the race as much as, Larson's on pole today. They're not really there to discuss. Yeah, they're more there to just hype up a crowd and interview drivers. Whereas the old pre-race show, race day and stuff was much more, they debate topics and have guests on, and it was much more, it was more of an insider look into the sport as opposed to what trackside is.
But Danny is right. I mean, it's still called trackside to this day, but it's not the trackside I grew up with, though. No, not even close.
Let's get these last few things in here. Carson, I always say this wrong. Quapple,
good enough.
He's going to be the JRM late model driver. Last guy that did that ended up pretty well. Speaking of Dale Jr. news, got a bit of it here. Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, and Clint Boyer all drove the next-gen car, with Stewart being the lone one actually testing it. I think the other two just drove it so they get a feel of it for when they start the broadcast. Dale Jr. has, though, announced that his lone Xfinity Series race will be at Martinsville. I'm going to assume, based on what he said, it's probably going to be in April. I don't know if he said straight up, but he just keeps saying Martinsville. But I'm going to say April of 2022. And voting has begun for what paint scheme he'll be able to run. So vote for what you want.
Number one.
3 for Dale. Do it.
Number three.
I haven't seen him yet, so I'm going to say number 2, just to be contrary.
And then lastly on here, Michigan International Speedway has announced a new track president, Joe Fowler. I believe he was at a high role at Kansas and helped bring a lot of stuff around that area. Tell you what, say what you will about Kansas on the track, around the track is really, really fun, even if their parking plan and getting people in and out of the track is a complete ass. But yeah, that's the lightning round.
And that was the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
I know I've got a lot of yellow on right now, but let's talk about green. Our other sponsor, of course, is Forney Industries. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, as well as metalworking accessories and much more. It's great for do-it-yourselfers, or if you're a professional metalworker, Forney has everything you need for your next major project. So be sure to shop all things Forney at forneyind.com. That's forneyind.com, or at an authorized Forney dealer near you. You know, we had a bunch of really cool paint schemes for the Groovy Hollow 200 last night, and a lot of fans were voting for their favorites. We had I think the final count was over 7,000 or 8,000 votes for favorite paint schemes. The Lino Racing one won, but it was close. Forney, I think, was second or third. It was very close. That green, I think, was the number 66. I don't remember the number now, but it was sharp. So that Forney green looks great on everything. So check them out. Their website's down in the description below.
Where was the podcast one? Did it at least podium?
I saw it was 4th at one point.
It was in the top 5 for a while, but I don't think we knew the NASCAR Weekly Podcast was just way too groovy. It was way too perfect. We had all of our faces on it. So if we put that up at the very top of the leaderboard, like when people open the page to vote, if we put it at the very top, we knew everyone would just click. They'd stop there. They wouldn't even look at the others. Yeah, they'd be like, oh, I don't even need to see the others. This one's already too great. So we put it at the bottom. So there's a chance maybe some people didn't scroll all the way down, but it was close. It was in the top 5.
Exactly.
It won in our hearts, though.
Yeah, it did.
It stayed out of trouble on the track. That's all I cared about.
I'm so proud. I stay out of trouble at freaking Hickory of all places, man. That was and we had how many cautions? What, like 14 or 15?
Probably.
It was nuts, man. It was crazy.
On the subject, that I kept seeing some commercials from Forney Industries there during the show last night.
Yeah, they were all in. They loved it. They were super excited. So glad their paint scheme looked good.
Claudia didn't get to watch the first little bit of it, but she walked in and she was like, oh my goodness, they got little commercials. That's what she was like.
So novel, yes. It's amazing.
Well, speaking of commercials and what pays for the show, Danny, I think we might need to get at least a little 5-minute shine on our chat.
This show is brought to you by viewers like you, so I want to thank you all for your support. And Jarrett, start us off now. All right, so real quick, I lost 2 super chats, and I know one of them was just a $5, and it didn't have a caption on it from Speedway anywhere, so I want to thank you for that. The other one, I can't remember who it was, but it was a $1.99, and it went away, so thank you for that. Spencer5478 coming in as a member of the Danny B Superfans for 5 months. Appreciate that. And he says, last 2 races of the season, let's get it on. Philip Richards also coming in 5 months as a Danny B Superfans. The charity race was awesome. Great job, Darian, says Philip Richards. Blue Jimmy 48.
Let's go.
I know he was in there. He's also coming in as a 6-month member of Danny B Superfans. Appreciate that. P10 finish for me. Wish there was one more yellow. Nicholas Gray coming in as one of the longest Danny B Superfans of 15 months. Appreciate the support there, Nicholas. Martinsville going to be stressful to watch, but go KFB. Yeah, I know he's a big Kyle Busch fan, so he's going to hope for a good weekend from his guy there. Oh, this one's kind of harsh here from Isaac coming in at $4.99. He says he hates Ty Gibbs. Why? Because he's forcing me into a midlife crisis when I'm only 21. Also, if it were to rain at Martinsville, could they use rain tires? I don't think they're ever going to use those, honestly.
Not this year.
Steve Castaneda coming in at $5. Appreciate this. Jarrett, this one's for you. For Jarrett, I wish you luck on Sunday as your Vikings play my Cowboys. You're going to need it.
I don't know.
Hey, Cowboy fans, do not get too confident. I swear, don't start.
Isn't Dak hurt?
Yeah, and
Wait,
we
is
have.
he?
Yeah, he's like, I think he said he's 80%, and the Vikings have the most sacks of any team in the NFL, even with the bye week. So
yeah, Cowboys.
It'll be a
fans,
game.
Don't get cocky. Don't get cocky though.
How about them Titans? Beat the Bills on a Monday and then destroyed the Chiefs later. So
Go Rams. Go Rams. Hey, Eric, how about the Texans, Eric?
How about them Astros tied series in the World Series? That's what I like to see.
I mean, Atlanta's pretty close to me. I kind of have to root for them.
I mean, hey, maybe if stuff actually turns out to not be too bad with Deshaun Watson, you'll get rid of him.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Oh, good. Hey, here we go.
Rest of the show.
All right, now you just need.
They didn't cheat this year to do it.
You just
They
need
didn't
a
cheat
trash
last
can
year.
to go along
Or
with
the year before that either. Dynasty.
Anyways, getting back to Super Chats. Nicholas Gray coming in with another $5. First impressions are important, and NASCAR 21 is currently a little bit of a joke on YouTube. How did this game pass all its approval to be released in bad condition? That's pretty interesting, and my experience of it has not been great. What I've played of it so far,
They patched it this morning, and I played it for a couple hours this afternoon. It was actually quite improved. I don't know what they did, but they fixed something.
On the PlayStation side, I can't notice anything. The game keeps crashing when I'm just getting not even into the race, just in practice sessions. It just crashes. So I can't say if it wasn't for the fact I traded in a bunch of games I wasn't playing anymore, so I ended up only spending $1 when I actually got it. So
Smart man.
So for me, having bought this game for $1, basically, I'm not terribly mad. But if I paid full price, I'm not surprised that I've seen some people saying that they've asked for a refund.
I've heard it was worse on even more buggy on consoles than PC.
It's very buggy on console, and there's a lot of things missing. Like on PC, you can use any wheel basically you want. On console, we only have one option, and it's not what I got, and I'm not paying another $250 just to be able to use a wheel.
For ignition, sure. No way. And then no track map, no rearview mirror.
No rearview mirror, no stages. There's
no private lobbies. No private lobbies. What the heck?
1 minute.
Okay. I'll keep going on this tangent here, and then we'll come back to the Super Chats. But I love the paint booth. Mm-hmm. I can say that. But it's kind of not a good sign, though, when I have to justify I like the game because of paint booth, because I might as well be on Photoshop at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So it looks great until you actually want to race. And
it has a lot of eye candy.
I want this game to be good so bad because I got so many good friends who are working on it. I know a lot of people who are working on this game, and I want them to do good. But gosh, it's not good right now.
Yeah, gotta call it like you see it.
And it hurts to say that. Yeah. All right, I got time for one more Super Chat here. Ethan9 fan NASCAR talk. Thank you guys for being there for me during a few rough days at work. And who is your guys' pick for this weekend's race in all three series? We will get the picks towards the end of the show, Ethan. Don't you worry about that. But we are glad that we can be there for you during rough days. One last Super Chat here. I don't care what the timer says, Jarrett. Platinum Paradise coming in at $4.99. KFB channeled his inner Kurt from 2010 to 2012 on the radio last week. Okay, so he's talking about Kyle Busch. Yeah, he did sound a little bit like the old Kurt Busch a little bit there. Jarrett, are we at the end of the timer?
Oh, yeah, we passed it a bit ago.
Okay, well, we're done there. That has been the first 5 minutes of the Super Chat.
And then next up, we're looking kind of long term, I think, before we get to picks. You know, we're looking into the future with picks a little bit. But we're looking way into the future. So NASCAR's been making some long term moves. At least what they've said they're planning on. I'm just gonna read a few of them off, and we can cover these one by one after. So NASCAR said some tracks might lose their dates due to poor performance. Now it's pretty. One can only hope. It's pretty easy to assume what they mean is probably attendance at the track, promotion, things like that. Talking about investing heavily in new ideas like street races. They have mocked up a 2031 schedule to kind of be a point of reference of where they want to be in 10
so
years.
Far off.
It's only 10 years, ain't too not even 10 years. They obviously they're gonna have new tracks that they want to get to, new regions in America. You see what they're doing with Portland right now. I'm telling you, NASCAR track around a mountain in Montana, it could happen. I'm joking.
When did you say that? I haven't heard that idea.
I heard it, but trust me. Trust me.
Personal
Totally have sources. They're just the voices. No, but they're also aiming. They're also aiming for races on. They're also aiming for races on foreign soil as well. So there's a lot to unpack here. Where do we want to get to?
Okay, but what is foreign soil? Are we just going down to Mexico? Are we going to Canada? What's foreign soil?
Honestly,
it's a lot.
Teams are complaining, or some people are saying, "Oh, they're going to LA. It's too expensive." So they better not be thinking about anything bigger than Mexico or Canada. Like at this point,
guys, you won't believe it. You're racing in China next year. Go have fun.
Well, first off, let me just
Monaco.
say this. Sorry, Eric. Texas, they're on the chopping block. They're the first track to go bad. So,
no, you hear their master plan to game the system is to like demolish 2/3 of their grandstands or something like that. Like so,
it's full, bro. It's full, bro.
It's full.
It's full. But nah, dude. So what I had seen on Twitter from Adam Stern was that basically they're going to start to see how these races play out and how the performance of them are. And that'll be a deciding factor. My one flaw about that is that there are certain packages that work at certain tracks better than others. Like, for example, last weekend, I think we can all agree that Kansas is one of the best 1.5 mile tracks on the schedule. The problem is, in Xfinity, it looks way better than it does in Cup. I know Cup had some exciting moments, but there were some parts where it was clear as day that the guys could not pass a lick out there last weekend on Sunday. So I really think they do need to take the current aero packages into account when making these decisions. And also, all this talk about street racing and stuff, look, I understand from an optics perspective, it looks great having your sanctioning body in the middle of a giant city, like a Chicago or a Miami, you know what I mean? But the problem with that is these street races, they could sometimes get a little bit drawn out, a little bit boring at times. Hopefully this next gen car will make that more exciting on these road courses and street circuits. But I don't know. I'm just saying, I just be a little wary about that.
One thing I want to kind of put in here is, in general, if you look at the tracks with the absolute worst attendance woes, when it comes to worst, advertising, just worst, when it comes to getting people butts in seats at the tracks, a lot of it's SMI. We got Bristol, which on a bad Bristol night race still brings in 80,000 people. That's a lot. I'm not talking about Bristol. But the ones I'm talking about is you got, for instance, a Texas or an Atlanta. I mean, I'm sorry, Atlanta, the way that their attendance has been, even when they opened that stuff back up, they got maybe 15,000 people.
They added that second date and nobody showed up for that second race.
There's no, I think, you look at New Hampshire, for instance. New Hampshire has been just hemorrhaging attendees. So I think that this is kind of NASCAR's way of strong arming SMI into being all right, you got to do what we want here. Because if you look at a lot of NASCAR-owned tracks, even the ones that aren't that good, still outperform a lot of the SMI tracks, at least from an optics perspective. Plus, they have a lot of good ones. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is their way of being all right, we need less of, X, Y, and Z tracks so we can get 1, 2, 3 track kind of thing.
But
if there's...
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I'm thinking if there's more opportunities for SMI to lease out a Circuit of the Americas, obviously is probably what they're going to do next year. That's got to be the plan because, SMI is in a tough spot. They built a lot of 1.5 miles. Atlanta, Texas, Las Vegas. They're, obviously some of those are going to go the way of the dodo perhaps before too long. But overall, when it comes to this idea that in a lot of these sanctioning agreements, they are requiring 70% attendance. And of course, they're letting that slide during COVID, of course. But as time goes on, I would hope NASCAR starts to enforce that a bit because, well, actually, let me start with this. I think NASCAR should absolutely do a street course. And I hear you what your concern was, Darian, about, a lot of times those races, especially with these cars you just don't know, may not be the most exciting, may not be the best racing. But think about what Deanna said earlier. She's been to a Formula One race, a NASCAR race, and an IndyCar race. And her favorite race, she said, was the Music City Grand Prix, which I know a lot of people, some people complained about the racing. I know it was intense down the stretch with Colton Herta trying to chase down the win and wrecking. But, that was a street race. That was a brand new street race. And, I think the fan experience is going to be first and foremost if they do a street race. And I think they should add one, not 3, not 2, 1 street race, preferably Chicago, maybe a Miami, maybe a Long Beach, something like that. I think those are your 3 big bets. I think NASCAR would be genius if they do that. And if Texas loses a date, or it goes away completely, or they're forced to completely rethink their future, should there be a track in Fort Worth? I've heard from people, I saw a few people commenting on my videos this week who live near Texas Motor Speedway, and I've been there recently, that the whole area around the track's developed a lot. It's not just warehouses. There's neighborhoods going up. There's a giant Buc-ee's, tons of stores and restaurants, outlet malls. I think there's a Top Golf, I think, near the track now. Like, that whole area around the Speedway is developing. Maybe you cut your losses, sell the land for a good price, and maybe build a Texas Motor Speedway somewhere else, and maybe make it a short track, or make it that 3-mile super speedway we keep joking about.
Texas Mega Speedway.
At some point, maybe you cut your losses on that track. I don't know. I'm just spitballing a bunch of different ideas here, but I like that NASCAR's thinking 10 years down the line, and I like that they understand the optics. One thing we overlooked was, I read an article, I don't remember where it was, but Denny Hamlin apparently met with Steve Phelps in the last week. And Denny Hamlin said that they both agreed that the 20,000 fans maybe that were at Texas Motor Speedway was unacceptable. Like, that, at that point, I think maybe that was the grand awakening moment for guys like Steve Phelps, that, that can't happen. Even if stands are only 40,000 capacity, at least we know they'll be full at most tracks. So hopefully this actually sparks. I find it interesting. They had that conversation like 2 weeks ago, and now all these reports, all these stories came out the very next week. I think NASCAR, that was the clear, like, ding, ding, ding. We've been putting this off. We've been kind of hoping things get better, No, we got to take the initiative and make a real plan, because this isn't going to work.
And I think what a lot of this proves too, especially, they're wanting X amount of people at the stands. Like, yeah, I get that you want it to look good too, but a part of it too, I think, and I think this gets spurred on with TV contracts, is the fact that even if, you have to, you can't just look straight at the number that they're going to get for TV money, because they might get the same amount, but the amount of like 7.8 billion or was it 8.2 billion today is not worth the same that 8.2 billion was worth in 2012 when this current deal was negotiated. And what I have to think is that, while I don't think attendance is going to be the end-all, be-all of NASCAR money in the sport circulating around, I think it's going to have more importance for the tracks themselves. I think you're going to start seeing a bit of shuffling of where that money goes. Maybe more of it goes to NASCAR, more of it goes to the drivers. We've seen drivers this week basically throw the tracks under the bus, basically saying you had to spend 20 to 40 grand to have your hauler there. Well, no wonder there's not as many haulers going.
I was just about to bring that up too. I think that's another thing NASCAR's taking into account here is the at the track atmosphere. I mean, I tweeted something today. Dude, I tweeted something today basically saying like how our generation of fans were lucky to grow up with shows there, like, a trackside live and a NASCAR race day. That upped the atmosphere. And then nowadays to hear, that certain tracks, they will charge 20 to 40,000 just for teams to park outside of their track to sign autographs. Like, what are you doing? Like, look, I understand, you're in the business of trying to make money and stuff, but that is greediness at its finest there. Like, and even Tommy Joe Martin, who he's about the fans. I've seen him on Twitter and stuff. He interacts with a lot of the fans on and off the track on social media. And even he called them out. He was like, this is ridiculous here. And I didn't even know that was a thing either. So I think that's another thing NASCAR's taken into account as well.
I just think, again, going back to what Deanna said, she went to the Roval, and that's Charlotte. That is NASCAR Central. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing. It was show up, watch the race, go home. And, I think we can blame some of it on COVID, but now NASCAR's been back, for a year and a half. I think at some point you can't use that as an excuse. The at-track experience was already becoming diminished in recent years. There was less haulers showing up, less vendors, less booths, less emphasis
on the track now.
Less obviously less practice qualifying, the pre-race concerts. I remember going into Texas Motor Speedway around 2011, 2012, and they had, I'm not a fan of these bands, but at least I'd heard of them. Foreigner played a pre-race show. Was it one big country star? Was it maybe Trace Adkins at the time, some big country, like people had heard of a lot of these people. And so the point is, there's not been nearly as much of an emphasis put on the experience around the track. And that needs to change. That needs to change right away. Because we've talked for years and years about how amazing it is to go to a NASCAR race. There's nothing quite like it. The rumble of the cars coming by, the party atmosphere. The party atmosphere outside of Talladega and maybe a couple other tracks has been killed the last year and a half. And unless we have some amazing resuscitation technology, I don't see it coming back anytime soon. So that's what really needs to be. The emphasis needs to be put on the at-track experience. It doesn't bring in the most money, but that's what ingrains NASCAR in young fans, and that's what makes people NASCAR fans for life.
I'll add a bit to this. So I think it was 2009 at Chicagoland. I went down, there was a giant traffic jam inside the track because people, either fans, drivers, whoever, all were trying to flood out so they could see, I think it was the Goo Goo Dolls, which weren't even peaking at that point, but were still pretty good. Iris is one of the best songs on my phone. I love that song. Awesome song. Anyway, another year, I think it was, I can't remember what year it was, but it was Michigan. I think they had like Green Day there, and Green Day was big through the 2000s. So like that was a big deal. And I want to add, when it comes to not just racing events, but sporting events in general, like for instance, so we'll look at another NASCAR track. Road America might not have had a lot of stuff around it, but in that track and where people could move around, there was tons of stuff going on. Great party atmosphere, just all around seemed like an organically
even
built
Coda
atmosphere. Yes, Coda had a lot, even with restrictions of how many people could go. When I went to the Vikings game in Cincinnati, there was stuff all around the stadium, like vendors. There were people like coming up, and same thing with when I would go to Cubs games at Wrigley Field. There was a party atmosphere. You could go all around Wrigleyville, and there was stuff going on. You don't get that in NASCAR anymore. You don't. You basically go to a race, like when I went to Talladega. Or when I went to Richmond, Richmond was different because I met up with some people. But like when I went to Talladega, for instance, I literally showed up each day like 15 minutes before the race because there was no reason for me to be there. Like I was just going to sit around. I wasn't going to do anything. Whereas in years past, I would go and be like, oh, I want to go into this hauler, or I want to go and do this, or I want to visit this kind of attraction, or race day. And the tracks need a push to build themselves back up, because what I think it's been, and I think that this contract being such a long-term deal has kind of really planted the seeds of this, is that the tracks, at least a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of the tracks have gotten extremely complacent. They have the money they want. They have no reason to try and bring people in aside from optics. They have no reason to bring in acts. You know what? We can say all we want about Eddie Gossage, but at least he tried. Like, I'm not a fan of a lot of what he said or did, but Eddie Gossage at least tried. Yeah. I don't think his mind was in the right place with a lot of them.
Yeah,
but I respect the effort. Yeah, I respect it though. It was
their pre-race shows were good. They did a good job with that. When it came to the racing, Gossage didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were doing. But when it came to the promotion, no, he had visions.
And what's sad to me about what Deanna had said about the Roval is, do you remember like the late 2000s when Humpy Wheeler was in charge of Charlotte?
He was the man, dude.
They blew up school buses in the trioval.
Yes. He was the man, dude, when it came to promotions.
They had a giant Godzilla, like Mecha Godzilla robot crushing like freaking bulldozers.
When they first added
that's lights, redneck fun, man.
When they first added lights to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, that was a huge deal. And Humpy Wheeler and Charlotte Motor Speedway promoted the hell out of that. And it basically led to one hot night in 1992, I believe. So, I mean, like, he was a well-known promoter for years, and he had retired. And then there's even a video up on YouTube still to this day. I think he uploaded like 7-8 years ago why NASCAR was losing fans. And that was one of the points he was bringing up. They were starting to lose that atmosphere at the racetracks even around 2013-14.
I don't think that this is like, because I think a lot of times people will be like, oh, you guys are just complaining, it's not like how you liked it. But I don't, but I think this is different because this is something you can fix.
Yeah.
Like, like I think I've said it a few times on here, like, you can't bring Dale back. You can't bring Dale Jr. or Tony Stewart out of retirement and have them being competitive. Like, those guys were trash their last years.
We had an inside source at the NASCAR say, hey, if we could bring Dale Sr. back, if we could revive him, we could. We could do it.
Well, and even when it comes to the drivers that retired, you can't bring them back and have them race at the level they were. Like, right. I'm sorry, a bunch of 40-something-year-olds and 50-year-olds aren't going to bring in the same audience that they did 20 years prior. But this is something
SRX did a pretty good job. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. They're an exception.
And their demographics were extremely old on the TV wise.
Very.
And also, as soon as you put someone who's current like Chase Elliott in there, he goes out and he wins the race. So
But this is something the tracks can change. Same with like the when I went on about the practice sessions and cutting weekends down. Like, I saw Denny Hamlin very quickly backtrack and said, I don't think we should practice for 2 or 3 days like F1 does, when he was comparing NASCAR to F1. It's funny, and when the drivers had to be at the track more, they're fine with it being different. But these are things that NASCAR and the tracks and probably the TV providers, because I have to assume that NBC or Fox would want to get in on something really big if someone big came to perform. This is stuff they can change. This is stuff they can influence. This is stuff that enough fans get in their ear about. We could probably see a change with it. Like, for instance, the Daytona 500, like the last couple of years or whatever, but like aside from the Daytona 500, what races have actual real good pre-race concerts anymore, or something that'll bring someone in? I'm not talking about like a country singer that peaked 10 years ago. Like,
Phoenix March of last year had that surprise music video shoot with Blake Shelton and Pitbull. That was exciting, but that wasn't on the poster. That didn't draw anybody. That was literally just a shock to people who were already there. So.
Did they ever show that?
No, I can't because of COVID.
I think Nashville actually had a pretty good pre-race concert. I can't remember who it was, but it was a more of a current.
Probably Tim Duggar.
No,
whenever they can't get someone, it's just Tim Duggar.
It was not Tim Duggar, but I forget who it was. They had someone pretty good though. I know.
Yeah. I remember, was it Sum 41 a couple of years ago at Auto Club? I was like, where did that come from? 2000s rock band,
I'm surprised that when U2 invaded anyone with an iPhone, I'm surprised that we didn't see them at like every other race or something like that too.
Right.
Yeah.
At least one.
Well, I can see like there's Dirk Bentley. That's cool for my nostalgia's sake for 2011, but like I don't really like
Sammy Hagar.
He hasn't been relevant since like.
But he was there. He
hasn't been relevant since before this millennium.
If we're gonna bring back people from a long time ago, let's get real hype. Let's get Kiss before a race. Let's get them out there.
Let's get let's just drop a bunch of money and see if we can get 3/4 of Zeppelin back.
I was bummed to see that the lead singer of Smash Mouth said he was retiring after he had like an outburst on stage.
Let's get Avenged Sevenfold there. They can bring giant audiences
now,
still.
That I would actually be pretty hyped for.
I would too. I just love that.
I remember the 2018 All-Star race, and this was before he became a rock star, and he was in the rap community when they had Machine Gun Kelly there, and me and my mom were looking at each other on TV, and we were like, "What? Why are they bringing?"
I don't remember him being there.
He was there, bro. Yeah,
it's a fever dream. Don't think about it.
Hey,
he dyed his tongue black now, by the way. Just so you know.
Screw it. Let's get Slipknot at a NASCAR race. What could go wrong?
Flying Pizza 98 said Slipknot pre-race show.
Hey!
I'm down.
That's great for the kids.
I push my fingers into my eyes. But I mean, I think NASCAR though, when it comes going back to kind of get more serious with it, NASCAR should look and the track should look at kind of broadening the audience out. Like Sammy Hagar is not going to bring anyone that's like, a middle Gen Xer on down to a race.
It's funny looking back at this. The week before that race, I noticed that they were like pushing that strangely on like, here's what you can expect, Sammy Hagar. And I even took a picture of that. And I was like, why is this something that's going to, why is Sammy Hagar going to draw someone to this race? And then sure enough, there he is right before, I'm here, can't drive 55. And I'm like,
I still don't hate the idea. I didn't love the execution, but I did not hate the idea. I'm glad they went for it.
But yeah, somebody else needed to polish it.
Okay, let's look at what Justin says in the chat. Post Malone had a video with drivers. Why not have something actually incorporated in?
That would be something a little bit more modern and kind of appeal to a wider base.
And also, he's actually multi-talented too. I actually saw his little cover concert of Nirvana a while back, and like he's actually pretty good too. So
his song with Ozzy was awesome.
Yes.
I'd love to get Ozzy out there with him. I know I just said to like all these young people, I just love him be like, I'm happy to be here at Daytona Stadium. Yeah, I'm the Prince of Darkness.
Play ball.
He says, "Take me to the ball." I'm like, "You're not on a baseball field, bro."
Just don't let his wife get the mic. No, but
I think that's a good place to stop that one.
Yes, please. All right, let's go. Let's move on. Yeah. More at the track atmosphere, please. Yeah. Make it happen.
All right. Now, speaking of tracks, let's go to Hot Dog Land, Martinsville.
Bro,
woohoo! My favorite track.
Dogs. I can't wait to see it in person. It's gonna be awesome.
It's your favorite track, Jarrett? I guess after 2015, it probably is.
Even before.
I've only been once. I really need to go again because it was a good experience my first time.
This is far and away, for the racing standpoint, my favorite track in the schedule. I'll be real with you, and my family throws Talladega parties. I circle this race more than Talladega.
Whoa.
It broke my heart last year that I could not go to this race when it was on my birthday.
Hey, we get to go together. You and me, we get to go together and see the race.
Hey.
I mean, hey, if it gets postponed enough, it might still be on my birthday this year.
Hey.
Nice.
Knock on wood, it's not.
I know I made a joke about this being hot dog land, but hey, actually, the teams can actually finally get hot dogs this year. They did not have the hot dog stand open at all last year, or I guess maybe earlier this year, but it will be open for this year's race.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it. What we got this weekend, man?
All right. Cup Series race will be the Xfinity 500, 500 laps. Stages broken up in 130 and 130 for the first two stages, 240 laps for the final stage. Start time Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so we get kind of an earlier start, actually. It'll be
closer to noon.
Yeah, closer to noon. It'll be on Main, NBC, and MRN on the radio. It's going to be chilly, 64 degrees, mostly sunny, only a 10% chance of rain. Not considering it snowed there a few years back. Xfinity Series preview, it will be the Dead On Tools 250. I haven't heard of them before, but welcome to the sport. 250 laps there, 60 and 60 in the first two stages, 130 for the last one. This one starts, it's going to be a night race actually on Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time when that one starts. It'll be on NBCSN and MRN for the radio. Nighttime it's going to be chillier, 59 degrees, partly sunny, only a 25% chance of rain. Truck Series race will be racing on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time in the United Reynolds 200. 50 laps and 50 laps in the first two stages, 200 in the last one. Of course, that'll be on FS1 and MRN. Darian, you got some betting odds for us for this weekend?
Yes, sir. The betting odds for the 2021 Xfinity 500. NTJ is the favorite at plus 450, followed by Kyle Larson at plus 500. Yes, and then third is Chase Elliott at plus 600. Fourth is Denny Hamlin at plus 650. And rounding out the top five is Ryan Blaney at plus 700. Now, the rest of the playoff guys, Kyle Busch is plus 800, Joey Logano plus 850, and Brad Kay at plus 900.
Who am I making money on?
Who are some wild cards? What about Bowman? I feel like he did good here last year.
Let's see. Bowman's plus 4,000. So if you want to put a bet on him, yeah, you can make some money off of that. Some other notables too, some dark horses. I feel like Tyler Reddick's a dark horse every weekend. He's at plus 5,000 entering this weekend. Bubba Wallace, who had a pretty good run here in the spring, is at plus 10,000 odds. Remember, he was up front leading some laps too, so he's shown he can muscle his way to the top at Martinsville. And then my personal favorite this weekend, Chris Buescher at plus 15,000 odds. I mean, we've seen how Chris Buescher can do at some of these short tracks. And, Martinsville, he's pretty good there, too. So, hey, if you want to make some money, hey, those are your three guys, in my opinion.
Who's the farthest back that you can see on there?
Oh, goodness. Garrett Smithley at plus 100,000 odds. But you know who's ahead of him? Tied?
Cody Ware?
With? Nope. Quinn Half. Good old Quinn Half giving Starcom Racing one final farewell tour here. He's at plus 100,000. So, yeah.
Dang.
Those are the betting odds.
All right, and real quick, before we get into race picks, guys, I realize we haven't had a chance to really talk about this too much because they haven't been racing in a while. This is the last race for someone making it into the championship for the Truck Series, so we need to talk about the standings right before we get into picks real quick. And
I forgot the Truck Series existed. They take so many breaks,
So going into Martinsville, John Hunter Nemechek and Ben Rhodes, as long as they keep their noses clean, they're good. Well, John Hunter Nemechek's already locked in, isn't he?
No, I don't think so. He won it. He won in the Xfinity car.
Yeah, he's not.
Okay. Then no one's actually locked in here.
I'll double check.
He's not. I have it up.
John Hunter Nemechek and Ben Rhodes come in plus 36 and plus 35, so they're essentially good. Matt Crafton, dangerous, plus 10, no wins this season. I've got my eye on him to do it again. Sheldon Creed comes in fourth, plus 5. Now, Stuart Friesen, if he can get into the championship 4, I like him to be a good dark horse there because he has won at Phoenix in the past. He's only minus 5 coming into this weekend. That dirt track knowledge might be beneficial for him. And then Chandler Smith is minus 34 in 6th. Let's see. It's only the top 6, really.
Hocevar is minus 37 in 7th, and Zane Smith is minus 40 in 8th.
All right. So let's get into now Truck Series pick. For this one, I'm going to go with someone who's not contending for the championship right now. I'm going to go with Mr. Kyle Busch, stay in your motorhome, Todd Gilliland, to get another win at Martinsville.
I was wondering. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. It's like, hold on a second.
So I had the guest pick for the Truck and Xfinity. Appreciate our mystery picker. I appreciate it.
I got Cup.
All right. So Ben. Our guest pick picks Ben Rhodes to win the Truck Series race, and I will personally pick Ben Rhodes as well.
And
pick.
Rhodes. I'm going with the boy who won at a short track to get into this round. What's his name again? Chandler Smith.
Chandler!
Forgot his name. What the?
How could you forget his name? Chandler, get over here!
I was thinking, I get him and Christian Eckes mixed up all the time in my head. I was suddenly thinking Chandler, and then I'm like,
Hey,
Christian.
if he wins, somebody make sure he sees his mom yelling at
Yeah,
him.
yeah, make sure mom sees.
Yeah,
Excuse me here.
Get over here.
I am going to pick the guy who has been the man to beat at tracks that are smaller than a mile and a half. Creed. Sheldon Creed has been the man to beat. He has been the man to beat at paved tracks that are under a mile and a half this year, and I don't think that changes.
Who can say Creed, but with the most disgustingly?
Creed.
Oh no,
Sheldon Creed.
He said the most disgusting. You said the most disgusting.
Creed!
All right.
Sound
Who do we
like
got
a car stuck in gear.
What's the chat looking like? I see a lot of John Hunter. I see a lot of John
It's a
Hunter.
runaway
I see
John Hunter.
A lot of John Hunter. Yeah, we might as well pick John Hunter.
Going once, going twice. Sold the John Hunter. in the
John
chat.
Hunter.
John Hunter, name check. All right.
Johnny boy.
Xfinity Series. Guys, I am going with this team getting their very first win. I'm saying Josh Berry wins for Jordan Anderson Racing this weekend.
Oh, does it two wins in 1 week?
Hey, for real though, for some reason, Jordan Anderson Racing has produced some great cars in the Xfinity Series. Going to a short track like this where Berry has a lot of knowledge in this style of racing gives them an advantage, and I feel like Josh Berry does have what it takes to get to 31 in victory lane.
Our guest picker here, and I'm going to pick the same guy. We talked about him earlier. Look, he's got to win basically, or if he's lucky enough, he might be able to point his way in. A lot would have to happen. We'll see. But, he's podium here multiple times at Martinsville. So the guest pick and me are going with Noah Gregson.
That's a good pick.
And Eric,
I like
what
it.
you did with the hat there.
It got a little messy, but I have to agree with Danny B. The Halloween machine, Josh Berry, is going to win at Martinsville.
If they had any other driver, I probably wouldn't pick them, but I really feel like Berry could win.
Oh, no. Barry's the man.
I won't be boring. I'm going the same one here because for some reason, that 31 team has been comparable at a lot of tracks to JRM's cars. And you see what Berry did. He dominated the spring race, led almost 100 laps. I'm going with him, man. And I think he's going to bring Junior home a clock.
It's funny. It's funny. I saw someone say Danny B cementing himself to the bottom. Well, now everyone else is joining me. If we go down, we all go down.
All right, who's the chat pick? Because I'm trying to catch the chat here. Who are y'all?
Someone in the chat said Danny Butt Talks.
Oh, they know what it means now. Oh my gosh!
Oh my goodness, that's right.
All right, so we got some dingers. I've seen a lot of dingers. I've seen a lot of Gregsons.
Hey, chat, I'm believing. I'm coming for you guys. Y'all better pick right. Y'all better pick right here.
Watch I pick Gregson just to screw with you.
Oh, I swear if y'all do, y'all better not. I swear. All right, let's see.
I'm seeing a lot of Allmendingers and Gregsons.
Oh,
Yeah, it's probably between those two.
I see what they're doing now. They might be doing it just to spite me.
I'm really not saying much of anything.
Let's see. I see T-Pain at least.
Timmy Hill.
Yeah, Timmy Hill.
It's looking like they're going the Gregson route.
They did. I saw 4 out of 5 Gregson. I think
Yeah.
give it them.
No,
I think it's going Gregson. Darian
No.
here.
Just let it run a little bit. Hold
There's
on.
one Allmendinger and a bunch of Gregsons.
There's 2 for Barry. 3 for
Okay.
Barry.
Wait.
But there's tons for Gregson.
It's
It's Gregson. It's Gregson.
Oh my.
I think we're calling it.
Yeah, just call it. At least our truck pick is different.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
And real quick here, I forgot to even say the pick point, so I'm just going to clarify what that is right now.
Okay.
Jarrett is pretty well close to having this thing locked up. He is 615. Eric is in second, minus 55. Chat is minus 88 in third. Darian, minus 104. Guest, minus 136. I am dying in the basement, minus 167.
who are you picking? How does it keep getting worse?
Well, the thing is that a lot of us are picking winners. Plus, Eric and I also swept the weekend this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Never mind. Hey, fist bump, Jared.
and-
Where you at? Fist
and
bump,
like,
buddy. Yeah.
I feel like this season I've picked a lot of guys who were like good, But then you guys picked someone who won. So
I've also swept 4 weekends at this point this year, so I've gotten a little extra wiggle room to suck at a few weeks.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Cup Series. I'm going to go first on this one. They call this place Martinsville for a reason. Martin Truex Jr. will win this weekend.
Wait, who's gonna suck? I thought we were gonna.
Who's gonna suck and be a dark horse?
Oh, well.
Yeah, we gotta do those first, Danny boy.
Well, at least I know what Danny's pick is.
At least we know that.
That's
Danny.
that's my suck pick. Oh well.
No, thank you, I appreciate it. But no, who's gonna
Who's
suck?
your suck pick?
You go first.
Okay. Dang, I feel stupid.
No, sorry.
Bowman, I don't know.
Of course he's gonna pick Bowman. Of course he is. Oh my goodness. All right, my suck pick. You know what? It's not a playoff driver neither. Let's see. Daniel Suarez didn't really have a spectacular race. Last time we were here, he was actually on fire. Actually, so I'll go with Suarez. His car
Literally.
was on fire. Yeah, it was literally on fire.
You know, I like my chair squeaked as
I saw
as I came into the frame.
That was good.
I like to pick a playoff driver for these, so I don't think this guy's gonna suck, but I think he's probably gonna run worse than all the other playoff drivers. Brad Keselowski, he's usually pretty good at Martinsville, but like in the spring, he was involved. I went back and watched. He was involved in, I think, 3 different incidents. Most of them were not his fault. He was getting punted by guys left and right, but he just was back in traffic. He was never able to put himself in a good spot. So I just feel like Keselowski might run like 11th and just end up fizzling away. I don't know.
So I am also going to go with Bowman. These last 2 races at Martinsville have been absolutely atrocious for him. And I don't think that he's going to be the main focus of Hendrick this week. And he's just lagged behind the entire playoffs. Like I'm honestly kind of disappointed how he's done in the playoffs. I think that Larson, Elliott, and Byron are going to run away from him.
Pretty fair. All right. What you got, chat?
Chat,
who's gonna suck? Give us a number.
well,
Give us a number.
I see Kurt Angle. You suck.
Yeah,
I see
you
that.
suck.
Fuck.
Give us a number, chat.
I've seen a lot of
5.
8.
I
I've
think
seen a lot of
5's gonna
18s.
suck. I think they think Larson's gonna suck. I think we should give him Larson.
Hey, if y'all can't pick Larson if the chat thinks he's gonna suck. Y'all be
I've seen
careful.
some Kyle Bushes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there's a 5. Yeah, I need some more 5s. I think 5 is gonna suck,
I see
right?
a couple of Harvicks too. Yeah.
No, guys, 5. It's gonna be Larson.
I think it's Kyle Busch.
Again,
Yeah.
like Kyle Busch. That's what it's looking like. Yep.
Yeah,
Dang,
I'm
they picked a
seeing-
playoff guy, too.
I'm seeing a lot of Kyle Busch in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kyle Busch. All right, fine.
Someone just said Eric Esep sad.
Yeah. Sad face.
So, dark horses.
Dark horses, Danny.
Dark horses for here. I'm gonna say Ross Chastain is a dark horse here. I think this play's pretty good for him.
I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. He led some laps here earlier. Didn't get a top 10, but now that he has a win under his belt and a couple of top 10s this year as well, Bubba Wallace will be my dark horse pick this weekend.
This is a pretty
I actually
good
like
track
that
for
pick.
him.
Yeah, I like that pick as well. It's going to be my dark horse as well because he had that bad wreck at the beginning of the Texas race, caused that big pileup, got loose and everything. But he bounced back and he ran up inside the top 10 for a while at Kansas. I think he finished around 14th or 15th. But I'll go with Bubba. I think he has a good top 10 run.
Well, I'm going to go with him too, but also added on to all that, he's been good at Martinsville. And that team has actually really improved as the season has went on.
Yeah.
I think they showed like his average finish quarterly of like each quarter of the season has remarkably gotten higher.
Yeah, it's like every 10 races, his average finish improves by 2 spots or something over the course of the year. So that's a pretty serious improvement over the course of a year.
I think his average from the first 9 races compared to these last 9 has been plus 7 or 8 spots. He's gotten more competitive.
The chat is clear. They're picking Bubba. So
Yeah, I see 23 storm the chat. The other one I saw was Ryan Priest, but no, not Bubba.
I've seen mostly Bubba, some Ross Chastain, but it's all Bubba mostly. So Bubba is their pick for underdog. Now okay, put me down for a Truex. I already got the winner.
Oh, you got Darren.
Yeah.
What round do you got?
Wait, hold on. Who's gonna win? Do I need to retire that, Eric? Do I have to retire that?
No, it was whatever you said earlier that was really. Yeah, that made me shudder a little bit.
Never do that again.
All right, I'll never do it again. I promise.
Don't you ever utter those words on my channel again.
But who's gonna win? Who's gonna win at Martinsville? Danny, we already know your pick. True.
Well, I'll put the guest one down. Deanna
All right.
picked Ryan Blaney as the winner.
Yes.
But yeah, going back to what I said, it's literally Martinsville, and it's appropriate that he's really good here. So Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, I gotta be honest here too. I mean, for the drivers on the outside looking in, like Truex is basically the favorite. He's the odds-on favorite for this entire race in general as well. So yeah, Martin Truex Jr. He couldn't win on a short track for years, and ever since then, he can't stop winning. So Martin Truex Jr.
See, this is one of the few instances. Like I talk all the time, where it's like, I'm between these two and these two. I don't know where they know. This is a week where I'm genuinely 50-50. I have absolutely no idea who to pick between these two drivers. So I've got a video coming out tomorrow where I'm going to kind of go through the round of 8 in great detail, talk about stats and stuff, and discuss who the favorites are, who I think makes in. So I'm probably going to give a different answer tomorrow. I'll tell you that right now. But for tonight, for the sake of keeping things interesting, the poor guy got caught up in someone else's mess last week. Ryan Blaney is going to win Martinsville and make his way into the championship 4. That will be a surprise. I don't think many people had Blaney in their championship 4 when these playoffs began. He's going to shock some folks. Oh, did you?
Oh, he did.
I did.
All right, well, you better hope I'm right, Jarrett. You better hope for it. Hope and pray.
I hope you're right, at least off points, because I think Martin Truex Jr. is going to do it again. He's won 3 of the last 4 here. He's been just honestly like the best person at Martinsville these last 2 years. It's really earned, unless Joey Logano takes him out or Ryan Blaney has a really awesome performance, which could happen. I think MTJ is going to get this one done.
I want to make a mention real quick. I don't know if he's watching. He usually watches the show, but I don't know if he's made it this far. But my dad was a big Matt Kenseth fan with me. We kind of got into racing at the same time. He's definitely adopted Ryan Blaney as his driver. I have not seen that. He has not done this the last couple of years, but we didn't watch the race together. He texted me right after Blaney got wrecked, and he was like, dang it. Like, oh, he was mad. Like, as mad as he would get when Matt Kenseth would get wrecked. And I just thought that was pretty cool. Like, my dad officially, I think, has a favorite driver. Maybe not quite to the level of Kenseth, but it's close. So for his sake, I'll pick Ryan Blaney tonight as well.
And that leaves the chat. Who's the chat guy?
I'm seeing a lot of. I see Mouse. I see Elliott, Chase Elliott.
Oh, we see the
a lot of Elliots.
Yeah, I see a lot of Elliots, bro. Yeah,
I mean, we can look at a few more, but I'm thinking this is really swaying Elliott's way.
Yeah, I mean, I see a couple of Truexes and like a few for Blaney and Logano, but like
Mark Martin got a vote.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Truex ones are. I'm seeing a lot of Truex. I mean, if let's see if the Elliots come back strong, but the Truex is pretty big.
I feel like this one here is also supposed to slap Eric in the face. The Braves fan himself, Chase Elliott.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh.
MVR owner spamming some 22s.
Yeah, that doesn't count. And TVP, that doesn't count either.
But he also put in 12. Hey, MVR, you're the only one who can really leave a bunch of things like that, so don't do that.
Yeah. Chill.
All right.
Mods abusing their powers.
Hey, mods, chill. Only one, mods.
Relax. All right. They backed off.
It does seem like it's still Elliott. I mean, yeah, we had some 19s flare up, we had some Blaney's flare up, but the whole time Elliott has been consistent. I think they got Elliott.
Oh yeah, no, I'm scrolling back now. Outside of those 2 mods just spamming and stuff, yeah, it's Chase Elliott, bro. Yeah, Chase Elliott.
Give him the mouse.
Yeah, give him Mickey. Good luck.
Wow,
hopefully I can catch you guys.
This can't at all be favoritism. Elliott's the winner, and they think Kyle Busch will suck.
No,
at least they didn't pick Harvick.
They never would pick Harvick.
Imagine Kevin Harvick watches this show. The chat picks him to suck, and he's like, "That's it. I'm gonna wreck Chase Elliott this week." That's
all because the NASCAR Weekly Podcast picks basically told them to
or no, it's not Harvick's not a fan of it, but Keelan is. And Kevin happens to walk in the room. Hey, son, what you watching? Oh, these guys, they talk about NASCAR. What do they talk about? Oh, yeah, Chase Elliott's better.
Turn it off. Turn it off now.
You winning, son?
That guy tried to get me to rub a Buddha belly. Turn it off. I wasn't surprised.
We are past the 9 o'clock hour here in Central Time, and this is where we get weird. So,
dude, I'm on the East Coast time. It's 10:17. This sucks.
Oh, man.
This sucks. Damn.
Jet lag. Or is that how that works? Something like that.
I don't know. Time lag or something.
What are the final super chats, Danny? We should probably get to those before long.
I'm feeling tired too, so let's finish up with that. We left off of Platinum Paradise, so that brings us to NASCAR fan 6056 coming in at $6.99 of Canadian currency. Question for Darian: Sebastian Bourdais doesn't have a contract for 2022. Should he go to NASCAR? He won an IROC. If not, where should he go?
Oh, so that to give some context, he was a former F1 driver, was a 4-time champ car champion from 2004 to 2007. To see him in NASCAR would be very interesting. I mean, not full time, but for a couple of races here and there. So on some road courses, so that would be a splendid idea. So yeah, I'm all for it.
$4.99 coming in from Irvin Alvarado, KFB at Kansas. Ah, me, Kyle, relax, just eat a Snickers. Me, better, KFB. No, car's killed.
The Snickers is killed.
$1.99 coming in from Hot Piss. Groovy Hollow was awesome. All for a good cause, too.
I'm glad Hot Piss approves.
$4.99 coming in from Ethan9 Fan NASCAR Talk. Question for all of you guys. Was you guys surprised that NASCAR beat F1 in TV rankings? Again, go back to what we discussed with Deanna. No, not really, just because NASCAR is still number one for United States market. It's what we know better.
I thought it'd be a little closer than it was. I didn't expect like the million viewer difference or very nearly. I thought it'd be because Formula One all year long has seen like a 40 to 50% increase, but for the US race, for some reason, it only jumped like 15%. So that was a little surprising to me.
And also, you got to understand, there's probably still a lot of people who can have two TVs going at one time, and so they probably had both races going at the same time.
I'm going to fully admit here, I did buy into the hype somewhat. Like, I expected the F1 ratings to be slightly up maybe, but no. Like, I was very naive to think that. So
I the whole time didn't think they would. I think that motorsports fans in general kind of put themselves in echo chambers, and I think a lot of them had kind of convinced themselves it was going to happen based on the hype.
There were certain media outlets that would have you thinking, "Oh, this
it's just
going to blow them out the water."
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you just take the emotion away from it. I mean, F1 would have to have like what a 200-300% increase. Like that's almost near impossible for TV ratings in general.
Yeah.
All right, we got a new member of the Danny B Superfans movement. Thank you for becoming a member of the Danny B Superfans movement. We got Bradley Biggers coming in at $4.99. Colleague Racing on Instagram said, "We just recorded our highest finish of P3 at Kansas. Everyone, Daniel Hemrick will get P2 next year." Oh,
yeah.
Be another second place.
Yeah.
Second place finish.
That kind of went over my head at first, so I'm glad I got that.
Yeah, that took a while, but I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Or Hemrick.
Luke O coming in with Canadian $5. Appreciate that. Joey Logano at Martinsville in a must-win situation to make the championship 4. People should be terrified to see him in their mirror.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just short track racing.
It's just short track racing.
Just imagine like that guy with that voice basically bumping you out of the way for a championship, and then it's saying like, "Yeah, short track racing."
Imagine.
Yeah, poor Truex, man.
This is why I wish drivers could talk to each other during the race. Imagine him in your ear. All of a sudden, you hear just "That's just short track racing."
Imagine him as a spotter.
I know. Remember back in like 2011, 2012 on the super speedways where they had those giant dials?
Yeah, exactly.
I want to talk to Michael Waltrip right now.
Like, and then Logano's like, "Hey, you want to wear?" No, cut him out immediately.
Change the channel.
Yeah, change it.
All right.
Still talented though.
Scott McNew coming in at $5. Appreciate that. Hope you guys are having a great night. Can't wait to be at Martinsville for the first time this weekend. I just hope I don't eat too much hot dogs. Hey, hope you have fun, but also you probably will eat too much hot dogs.
Yeah,
I've already accepted it.
That. I just want to try at least 2. At the very least, I want to try at least 2.
Just 2?
I'm going to try more. I'm going to try more. I'm going to try more.
Those are rookie numbers, Darian.
I said at the very least, so I'll probably try way more over the weekend. Trust me.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, I know.
You'll probably have bare minimum 5. I think that's what I had.
Probably.
All right, Scott McNew coming in for another $5. Do you guys think Mayer was brought up to Xfinity too soon by any chance? I personally think so. There's nothing more he could do in ARCA, in my opinion. He'd be almost like, how Ty Gibbs has been.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe it would have been better if there was more of an opportunity for full-time of GMS and trucks, but that's just me. What do you guys think?
Well, I think what he got in Xfinity this year, that's why I was so excited. That's why the bad run he's been on has been so disappointing is just because I thought he was ready for a part-time Xfinity ride, and he just hasn't shown it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm the same way.
You can make the argument definitely for sure. I mean, it's just what left. I mean, what more did he have left to prove? I guess is an argument, but also he probably could have stayed in the lower series to learn better driver etiquette for the Xfinity series. So I don't know. I'll say no for now and stuff. I'll say no right now. We'll see how he performs full time next year, though. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. I think, maybe a little bit, but at the same time, there really was nowhere to go but there. I mean, I guess the trucks, but the trucks compared to Xfinity and Cup is like kind of its own animal.
Exactly. There's not really much comparison.
Yeah, I don't know that you're going to learn driver etiquette in the truck series.
Let's be real.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Let's be real. We're going to learn driver etiquette really anywhere anymore.
No, dude, it's basically non-existent.
You'd cut me off in the McDonald's drive-through line yesterday. I was pissed.
All right. $4.99 coming in from C. Workman. Good to see you. Picture this. The NASCAR Pro League on NASCAR Ignition 21. It'd be the perfect kerosene icing on this dumpster fire of a cake. Wow, strong words from C. Workman.
Hey, no, the C. Workman is not a fan of
and here's the thing with C. Workman. Me and him was actually talking about this. He used to be so active, especially when Rusty Walrus would stream. I used to see him all the time in those. And the thing is, like, what I used to love about racing and streams that like Rusty would do, Eric would do, those were fun times because you would get like your usual group of people. Well, now what they have, it's not even an option. I don't even know if they can do a pro league of what they have for online at this point. Like,
they'll find a way probably for the pro league. They'll find a way.
The pro league always finds a way.
Yeah, they always find a way for the pro league.
Like it's not capable of it right now. I'm just being honest. They can't do it right now.
Yeah, and there's one thing we've learned. The general public won't probably get private lobbies, but the pro league definitely will, unfortunately. So.
It's whatever. Sean Taylor coming in with $4.99. Appreciate that. Larson has as many wins on oval this year as Chase Elliott does in his whole career. Mickey Chase.
Maybe this is the reason why Chase Elliott fans hate Larson so much.
Maybe there's a point now.
Wow.
That's funny. I don't care.
Scott and they're equal. No, actually, no. Larson has more wins on road courses, actually.
2 more. Yeah. 2 more wins.
2 more.
1 more.
2 more.
Oh, wait.
He's the 15.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are we talking in general? Like, I'm saying 2 more.
I thought it was this year they had more road courses, but hey, I don't know.
Oh, I was saying in general.
I don't know.
Scott McNew coming up $2. Even the Lions games have a great party atmosphere. I'm not familiar with Lions games football, so.
Hey, aren't they 0-6?
Best 0-7 team of all time. Best 0-7 team ever.
Is that every year?
feels like it. And we got $5 coming in from a very big Ryan Blaney fan. He said, Eric, thanks for picking Blaney. That comes in from Mr. Craig Eastep.
Oh, wow.
You're welcome, Dad. I'm glad he's watching. Glad he made it this far. We're 2.5 hours in.
I know. It was so overboard.
That's where we go. Hi, Dad.
All right.
But that will do it for the Super Chats. There's no more, and that'll do it. So join us next week. We'll be back on Wednesday, November 3rd. We'll be on the Icebergs channel for the last time for this year at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 Central Time. And, Jarrett, we will have a pretty special guest. Who's it going to be?
Well, I don't want to give it away just yet because we need to make sure we figure a few things out. But I'll let everybody guess in the comments on this one.
Make sure you're following us on Twitter so you can know for sure when we know.
Y'all will like it. Trust me.
Everyone just kind of guess in the chat and in the comments. And if you pick the right one, we won't tell you. But, hey, you at least pick the right one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Jarrett, do you want to play us out to a little bit of Dale Call and hopefully it doesn't knock your mic out this time?
It's gonna.
It said it like shows, I think, now.
I have a new chair, so it makes more sound when I move it.
All right. Let's do it.
Just tell me when.
All right. Go ahead. We got the outro going.
It's okay. It's a little bit better.
It was there for a minute.
It's all right.
See y'all next time.